into the stratosphere for Kazuma Okamoto, who makes it a one-run game. 453 feet.
Breaking down Edmonton's favorite teams.
Here's Slavkovsky at center. Will be filled in there by Hudson. Suzuki after the puck. Slavkovsky on it. Beats it back. Newhook off the bench. Back to Hudson now. And that is blocked away. First back, scored! Scored! And the Canadians have the lead.
This is Sports 1440 and the Kevin Karius Show.
All right, here we go for Sol 659, Tuesday, May the 5th. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440 on your AM radio dial on your morning drive. Heading out on a Tuesday. Nice weather for the next few days. Excited that May is upon us. Golf season is officially here. It's a fired up time to be out and about for sure in the city of champions. Hey, you can also watch us on YouTube at Sports 1440 AM. Drop us a like, a subscription. We would really appreciate that. We're also on X, Facebook, Instagram, even Twitch. And as always, the many streaming services are jam-packed with our show on iHeartRadio, the TuneIn app, even on sports1440.ca. And again, if you miss any part of any show, you can find them where all the podcasts hang out. Once it's all said and done on Apple, Spotify, Google, even Amazon, please subscribe. It's free. And select the auto download. You'll never miss a second of any show. So glad that you could spend some time with us here on a Tuesday morning where round number 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs well underway after some games on Monday night. And of course, well, the second game of one series, again, we talked about it yesterday. The Carolina Hurricanes could be halfway done here, halfway done to their second round victory over the Philadelphia Flyers before Montreal and Buffalo even gets going here. They don't start till tomorrow night. But man, oh man, Philadelphia had Carolina down 2-0. Carolina steams back to win it 3-2 in overtime. Guess who gets the winner? Taylor Hall, the former Edmonton Oilers number 1 draft pick from 2010. Man, it seems like it's not that long ago, does it? 16 years ago when Taylor Hall was drafted number 1 overall by the Edmonton Oilers back in 2010. That's his first career overtime winner. Now, the Carolina Hurricanes are the 7th team in the last 26 years to start the playoffs 6-0. Also last night, Vegas beats Anaheim 3-1. Empty net goal. The game was tied 1-1, and a controversial play on an icing call that was not called. Jackson Lacombe and Jack Eichel were neck and neck, and it looked like Lacombe was ahead of him at that point where you're, thinking about blowing the whistle down. He sure picked up a step after that, but the bench for the Anaheim Ducks went bananas. Joel Quenneville, I mean, his blood pressure, it must have been like 190 over like 110. It must have been just through the roof. And to be honest with you, if you look at the replay of the bench, they're on the linesman, and it's not his call, the back linesman, and they're all over him. They didn't even see the goal go in. They were on him so hard, the entire bench, especially Quenneville, because the play continued to develop, and it was probably, 3-4 seconds, 5 seconds after the icing was waved off. And at that point, Quenneville was down on the bench, giving it to the back linesman, and then a quick pass, and bang, 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 Barbashev from Dorofeyev, and it's in the back of the net, and that made it 2-1, an empty netter. It was a tie game. It was 1-1, but you go back earlier in the game, and Jackson Lacombe, you're not going to get a better opportunity to score a goal in the NHL after a wonderful, well, not just one, probably 2 moves from Leo Carlson. And he sets up Jackson Lacombe and decides to pass off. He had a wide open net, and that was the one that they needed back. That may have changed the outcome the game as well. But Vegas draws first blood. Anaheim, if you look at the game as a whole, you would probably say Anaheim held the play. They were the better team for the most part of the game, but it's Vegas picking up win number 1 in that series. Text 833-401-1440. We'll get them as the morning progresses. So many radio shows, talk shows, this show, that show yesterday, because coming out of the weekend, the Oilers had their availability on Saturday, but coming out of the weekend, now on Monday morning, and we discussed it at length yesterday with Eddie Steele, with the Duke of Delburne, about where the Oilers are and what Connor McDavid said. And again, with Mark Spector and the likes of that, what Leon Draisaitl said, how they looked at the season and how they're looking forward. So many things talking about the coach, Chris Knobloch, his future, Darnell Nurse, Tristan Jarry. Then Elliot Friedman throws out Jordan Bennington's name in his podcast. So Cal Pickard appears to be done. His days are over here in Edmonton. So there was lots to chew on yesterday, and there will be tons to chew on as the weeks progress as well. Then, the Leafs have their news conference and media availability to introduce John Chayka, Matt Sundin, and that thing turns into a you-know-what show. Holy smokes. Steve Simmons throws out a question that, well, first of all, it's a question, and he's just slamming Chayka. You can't slam him anymore, but he's asking Pelly, and I was surprised. I thought Pelly would show some stones and buck up to him, like really go after, because you can put a guy back, you can put a reporter back, but he never had the stones to do it. No one did up there. I think someone said it was a very uncomfortable news conference. In the NHL today, there was a statement from Victor Hedman that I think probably caught a few people off by surprise here. The Tampa Bay captain, of course, he didn't play in the first round in the loss to the Montreal Canadiens. But Victor Hedman released a statement saying, I've spent most of my life in this game and nearly all of my career with this organization, wearing this jersey, serving as captain, the greatest responsibility of my professional life. That responsibility doesn't apply on the ice. Not only does it apply on the ice. Over the past couple of months, I made the decision to step away and focus on my mental health. It was not an easy decision, but it was the right one. I've always believed that being a leader means doing what's best for the team. And in this case, it also meant doing what was necessary to take care of myself so I can be the best player, teammate, husband, father that I expect to be. So he goes on saying that I'm proud of this team. I look forward to what is ahead. But everyone talked about it being an injury for Victor Hedman, but it was a mental health decision. So I'm sure that'll be discussed a lot this morning. 7:09 in Edmonton. Hey, let's welcome in the Duke of Delburne on a Tuesday morning. Duke, I don't know where to start with your Ducks there. I assume you feel it should have been blown down on the icing call?
Yeah, in real time, and you watch it, it certainly seems
they've called way worse.
That's exactly it, right? Like, we've seen hard foot races back where the attacking player seems to have that leading edge and they continue to blow it down. And listen, the Ducks were the benefit of a questionable icing call in round one against the Oilers, right? Where I think it was Trouba. It was pretty close to whether or not he actually got the line or not to dump it in, and they let it go. Ducks go on to score. Last night, it's a frustrating moment of the game because obviously Anaheim had just tied it, got themselves in a good spot down the stretch. And I agree with you. I thought they were, it was a very evenly played game, but if you had to give an edge one way or the other, I did think the Ducks carried most of the 5-on-5 play. Now, their power play that really torched the Oilers, it comes up empty and very not ineffective because they had some zone time and got a few looks, but certainly didn't look like the well-oiled machine it did against Edmonton, which is maybe more of an indictment on the Oilers' penalty kill than it is a propping up on the Ducks' power play. So both goaltenders, which was a big question mark after the first-round performances for both Carter Hart and Lucas Dostal, they were great. Dostal in particular, he didn't make as many saves as Hart did, but he came up with a couple really big ones and some marquee stops to keep it at 1-0. Before they would tie it and then eventually go down, and of course the empty netter. And it's the real tough spot for Jackson Lacombe, who was very good again. Obviously the miss on the it's just an insane play that you have the wide open net and you try to one touch it back to your guy in the slot who is closer to the goaltender is
Would
coming
have
from
a
the other
worse
side.
angle.
Worse look at it.
Yeah.
And then in the final minutes, you got the goalie pilled, tons of pressure
Puck
on.
drop.
Puck
Yeah.
hops right over his stick at the line and then kind of leads to the empty net goal a short time later. He was very good over the course of 60 minutes yet again. Got the assist on the game-tying goal, a good driver on the side of the zone. So, hey, positive signs. If you're watching this, it was an entertaining game, far from the fireworks we saw in Minnesota and Colorado the night previous, and maybe we'll get a repeat of tonight in Denver.
Mhm.
But honestly, I thought the Philly Carolina game was a little more exciting over the course of it. And yes, it went to overtime, so that definitely helps. But another good night of hockey for sure.
You know what I'll say, Duke, and maybe you agree, maybe you don't, but I thought that the Vegas Anaheim game, number 1, was similar to the Oilers Ducks game 1.
A little bit of a feeling out process. It felt like
a later goal, right?
Mhm.
So a later goal, like, the Oilers scored with 2 minutes left. That was Kasperi Kapanen, right? This was a goal that was not 2 minutes left in the game, but it was later in the third period. I think 4 or 4.5 minutes or five minutes.
It was about 15:02 is when it went in. So
5 minutes.
Yeah.
So not quite as late, but at the same time, in that Oilers win, the Ducks were a little bit better than the Oilers, even though the Oilers won that game. So that's what I'm saying. I think that Anaheim looked to be a little bit better than Vegas. Not saying a wide margin, but it's similar result where, the home team found a way to win, that a little bit more experience. But I think now Anaheim can take what they learned from, the Oilers series and what they learned a little bit from game number 1 here, and we'll see how they move forward here. So.
Yeah. If you're the Ducks, I think you're feeling very good, even though once again you lost the first game of the series just as they did in Edmonton on the road.
Yeah.
And the Knights, man, they play a championship style of hockey, right? Like they don't give you a ton of room. The Ducks piled a ton of shots on net, but few really good looks. The best look is the one that never actually ended up on net, which was Lacombe's that we just discussed. So I think both teams are feeling good with lots of room for improvement heading into game number 2 tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Or Wednesday. Tomorrow night.
Yeah. NBA last night, the New York Knicks really gave it to Philadelphia, 137-98 to take game number 1 of that series. And then the Minnesota Timberwolves, they just keep finding ways to win, and they take down San Antonio in game number 1 of that series, 104-102. This despite, a depleted lineup. They're banged up, but they find a way to win the series opener. Victor Wembanyama had the 12 rebounds. That's an NBA record. Blocks, pardon me. Blocks, thank you. I don't know why I had that written down wrong. 12 blocks. Unbelievable. 104-102. He didn't shoot a lick from the field, but he was blocking everything. So we'll see how that series shapes up. And, of course, in the NBA tonight, it's going to be the Lakers and OKC, and that's where we're going to lead things off on the big program because we got Andrew Schlecht from The Athletic, covers the NBA and OKC. So we will, basically preview this game tonight, and we'll probably look a little bit towards last night, what we saw there. And then also tonight, we've got Cleveland and the Pistons in game number 1 of that series. So that's going to be right off the hop. Andrew Schlecht from The Athletic covers the OKC Thunder and the NBA game number 1. Luka Doncic not expected to play for a while in this series for the Lakers. At 8 o'clock, Mark Spector will be by, Frank Saravalli from Frankly Hockey and Victory Plus TV at 8:20. We're going to flip the switch and talk a little baseball with Thomas Hall from Blue Jays Nation at 9 o'clock. Now, the Blue Jays lose in Tampa Bay 5-1. Randy Valade had a 3-run home run right off the hop off Eric Lauer, went down and got one. Pitch was pretty low when he golfed it out, his first home run of the year, and then the Jays could not get back in the game. Well, they sort of did. It was 3-1, but then that's as close as they got. 5-1 the final. The big news yesterday in Major League Baseball, Tarek Skubal, two-time back-to-back Cy Young Award winner, the best pitcher in baseball the last couple of years. He's going to have a process and a surgery to remove some floaties, and he's going to be gone for probably 3 months or so. Now, there was talk that he would likely be traded because Detroit would not answer to his contract demands, where he would go. But now this throws a whole wrench into things, does it not? But we'll get maybe Thomas Hall's reaction to that as well. Tom Reed, the great Minnesota Wild color analyst, will check in at 9:20. It's game number 2 of that series. I don't think we're going to see a 9-6 game, are we? I think it'll be a little bit less than 15 goals for game number 2 tonight. Ham and Eggs, Cam Tate at 10 o'clock, and then the con man, Connor Halley from Fantasy Frenzy, and the Jason Greger Show will slide in at 10:20. When we come back, Andrew Schleck from The Athletic covers the NBA and the OKC Thunder on the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne. Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM Radio. We are streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Your protein drink should work as hard as you do. That's why Booster Juice is hitting the gym harder than ever, brother. Meet your new gym buddies, the Way Too Good and Green Games Booster Mixers. 2 new ripped and refreshing menu options that bench some serious protein. Perfect for pre or post-workout. Way Too Good and Green Games Booster Mixers taste like motivation. So what are you waiting for? Let's go!
Booster Juice. Canadian born, blending since 1999.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. It feels good to know your fund goes further at home. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocentre.com today.
Increase resistance to stress and support memory enhancement with new Roots Herbals Ashwagandha. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month. To ensure this product is right for you, always read and follow the label.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Alan Olson Auctions invites you to bid on the unreserved auction for Raymond Halushka of Breton, Alberta. Online bidding is open for one final day today at alanolsonauction.com. Items up for sale include a variety of tractors, construction machinery, trucks and trailers, passenger vehicles, RVs, haying, harvest, and tillage equipment, and more. For more information on this sale, call Alan Olson Auctions at 403-843-2747 or visit alanolsonauctions.com today.
For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Area Adjusted and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the 2 best names in the boots business.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 721 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne. Josh Fenwick with you here on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're also streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. Text 833-401-1440. Jay in Victoria texts in. Morning, guys. Great show yesterday. So much going on. Yeah, there was lots going on, Jay, for sure. The Oilers group all say they need to improve significantly. The question is how? Everyone wants the same. Bennington is not the answer. Or is it for a short-sighted team? People want to trade Nurse, but how and what second pairing D guy is available? Lots to see, develop. Carter Hart looks good. He would have had no chance in a Canadian market, though. Yeah, some points here for sure. And time now for the game of the day, brought to you by St. Albert Dodge, where you can land a 2026 Jeep Compass 4x4 for $36,900. It features an 8.4-inch touchscreen, the active lane management, the Apple CarPlay, remote keyless illuminated entry, the rear backup camera, alarm, and more. We've got 25 of them in stock at stalbertdodge.com as we welcome back Andrew Schleck from The Athletic, covers the OKC Thunder and the NBA. Good morning, Andrew. You're with Kevin Karius. Thanks for jumping on Sports 1440 this morning. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Well, what do you make of this series that tips off tonight between the Lakers and OKC, where the Thunder really dominated the Lakers all season long, winning by close to 30 points a game, 4-0. But, I mean, the Lakers had a different looking lineup a lot of the time with some guys in and out. But just your overall thoughts going in here, Andrew, what you're going to expect and what you think how this series might shake down.
Yeah, the Thunder are heavy favorites. I mean, I think they're favored by 15.5, which is not a common number for a second round series. A lot of that is like the Lakers and the Rockets. I don't know if I can illustrate how poor that series was and how bad both those teams looked throughout the entire series. You do credit the Lakers for coming out on top, but they did not always look very good during that series. Obviously, they're missing Luka, who is officially out for game one. So that's a big deal. I mean, it would be like the Thunder without Shea and like trying to figure out like what are the Thunder now. So you can't fault them for being that heavy of a favorite. But I do think like everything really tilts toward the Thunder. The Lakers have struggled with turnovers in the playoffs. The Thunder thrive off of creating turnovers, and also the Lakers are not a team that takes a ton of threes either, which is kind of like a nice counterbalance to OKC, is just like getting up a lot of threes or taking a lot of corner threes or generating them. They didn't do that in round one. I think they took the least amount of threes per game of any team in the playoffs. So there's not a lot of statistical evidence to say that like the Lakers are going to be in this series, but you have the experience of LeBron James, which is always going to be a factor. But that is about it when we're talking about like the advantages that the Lakers have over the Thunder. The Thunder, even without Jalen Williams, are still just stacked.
What did you see from OKC in the series sweep over Phoenix, and the way the games went really allowed them to use a lot of their depth? And I would imagine they're as fresh as they possibly could be heading into round two here.
Yeah, no one was overtaxed in round one. I think like probably the biggest thing was the role of AJ Mitchell for the Thunder, especially after Jada went down. His role increased to put him as the starting two, and he played pretty well. He wasn't very efficient as a shooter. He wasn't very efficient getting to the hoop either, but he is a guy that can create a paint touch and then spray out to the perimeter, which is something that they need. Outside of Shea and J-Dub, they don't really have a lot of that. And so just having another shot creator is huge for them. I think the biggest thing is just defensively, they were on a completely different level. We've seen them get to that level during the regular season for stretches. I don't think they were as consistent defensively as they were in the previous season, but they were just locked in all four of those games. And like that to me was like the big reason why OKC won. That and just Shea was phenomenal in that first round series.
Mm-hmm. The Athletics, Andrew Schleck with us on the Kevin Karius Show here on Sports 1440. You mentioned Jalen Williams left game two with the hammy. Where is he at? What's his status? How's he looking moving forward here with the possibility of a return at some point.
Yeah, he's listed as out tonight for game one, which is not a surprise. He's week to week. And so we're at about 2 weeks from his initial injury. I wonder if they'll kind of see how the series goes a little bit to see if and when they need to bring him back. My guess is that he will play at some point during the series, that they want to get him a little bit of time before they get to the conference finals. But I don't think that they are in any rush with J-Dub. This will now be his third hamstring injury this season, and you want him to be as rested as possible. So they're not going to rush back into anything. They have the depth necessary to beat a team like the Lakers. So I don't think that there's any rush to bring J-Dub back. Ideally, you get him some time on the court before you get to the conference finals, but I think it's way more important for them to make sure that he's completely healed, and probably then some, because it's a hamstring injury is tough. Like, you can get out there and test it. He looked healthy. Game one, he was amazing against Phoenix. The start of game two, he was scoring in every way. And really defensively was amazing. And then all of a sudden he's out again. So I do think you have to be extra cautious with him in these situations.
How can the Lakers generate enough offense here? And you touched on some of the stats a little bit earlier here, Andrew, but with all the great defensive players that OKC has, how can LA generate enough offense to get into this series and make it a series, if you want to call it that?
Yeah, to me, a lot of it is they have some good corner three-point shooters on their team, and they've got to find ways to get into the paint, because they've got guys like Luke Kennard, Rui, Austin Reeves, Marcus Smart have all been really good from the corners this season. If they can generate shots for those guys, I think that they'll be in decent shape. They also just need Austin Reeves to be healthy. Like that to me is like the biggest one. He came back, he scored, but not efficiently. He basically got to the free throw line. That was like the big way that he scored against Houston. But he did not shoot it well from three. He did not shoot it well from two. He was not getting to his spots like normal. If he's not anywhere close, I don't see really how they're going to generate enough points, because you look back at the box scores of those Lakers Rockets series, and it's like you're looking at games from 2004. I mean, it's not a normal NBA offense. And so, and they were playing Houston, who's a good defensive team, but they're not at the same level at the point of attack that the Thunder are. And if you look back at those, I mean, you mentioned that they won almost every game by 30 points. A lot of it was the Lakers couldn't bring the ball up against OKC, and it was just a struggle. And so they're going to have those exact same problems against the Thunder this time. And it's really, they need a healthy Austin Reeves. And if he's still 80% or whatever you want to call it, it's going to be really, really tough for them.
Yeah. Andrew Schlecht with us on Sports 1440. SGA had an average of just under 34 points against the Suns. Maybe it's a difficult way to gauge how an elite player and, the reigning MVP, the level he's at. But how would you assess where he's at, maybe comparing to where, he was last year when they went on their run and won it all?
Yeah, I think that you can see that he's learned a lot over the last year, and he's somebody who's like a real student of the game and like really tries to take in anything and everything that he can. And I think the thing that you hear from him a lot is like being present in the moment and not like having your head a game ahead or 3 plays ahead. Like, he's really trying to be present in each moment. And you could kind of see that the Thunder didn't really have moments where they let down during that series. And even if you rewind back to the Memphis series, they swept the Grizzlies. But, in game 4, they were down a ton, and it looked like we were heading to game 5. There was not moments like that in this past series. And I think some of that is Shea's leadership in those moments, like not letting them slip. The Thunder were the only team to sweep round 1 because it's really hard to sweep. It is really, really tough to do that, to remain that focused. And I think that like lasered in focus is something that they didn't necessarily have. If you look back at the second round, game 1 against Denver, they lost game 1 because of lack of focus. They lost game 1 of the NBA Finals at home because of a lack of focus there at the end against the Pacers. And so I do think that there's like this intentional focus from Shea that we didn't necessarily have. Not that he was bad. I mean, they won the finals and he was finals MVP, but I see like an extra level of focus from Shea.
LeBron James, Andrew, how impressed are you still with him? Still bringing it at 41 years old. Had an average of 26 points in that series against the Rockets, but it's quite remarkable that he's still at the level he's at.
Yeah, we've never seen anything like this. I mean, there's been guys in like their 40s that have played in the playoffs before, but they're like bit players. They're guys that are just like getting out there almost to just like wave their hand to the crowd, you know? They're not the focal point of an offense, and a guy that is expected to do a lot defensively. We've certainly never seen a 41-year-old dunk like he did in round 1. It's remarkable. I have a teenage son and then 2 younger sons that are going to be going to the game. And I'm like, guys,
wow,
you've got to like soak this in, because you get to go watch, not only you get to watch this great Thunder team, but then you get to watch like one of the greatest players to ever touch a basketball. Regardless of what the outcomes are, like you have to like soak in the fact that like you are here in this moment watching one of the greatest players to play. And so it's just really cool. I don't know how you couldn't just marvel at the kind of player that he is. It's really special. Like it's truly special. And I hope that NBA fans all over the world can kind of take that in.
Well, you got to be pretty happy and fortunate in your kids to have three boys going to the game tonight, man. Holy cow.
Yeah, it's a huge blessing. We're all very excited at the Schlecht Fest right now.
Oh man. You got to get a box or what? You probably got another 10 people you got to take to the game or something, man.
Right?
Oh man. Last night, Minnesota and San Antonio, 104-102. So Minnesota draws first blood in there. Wemby had the NBA record with 12 blocks. What did you make of that game?
Yeah, I love the spirit of this Wolves team. I think that block number is indicative of not only Wemby's talent, but indicative of the way that the Wolves are approaching the series. Like they're going at the rim fearlessly. They don't care. Wemby, get 20 blocks. We don't care. We're going to attack you. And part of the thing, and you've heard several teams say this about Wemby, is like the approach is we're going to make him exhausted. I mean, you saw like what happened at the very end of that game. The Spurs had the ball. They were down 2. Wemby had the basketball. What did he do? He immediately gave it up. I think he was gassed. And I think part of it is like they put him in action as much as possible, which is a little counterintuitive because it's like, okay, this is the depoy. This is the guy that everyone fears. But if you watch that game, Minnesota did not fear him. They allowed him to get that record. They didn't care. They won the game. Like Wemby is probably not even happy about that record because all that guy wants to do is win basketball games. And so you have to credit the Wolves. I don't know how much they can keep all of that up. I don't know how bad De'Aaron Fox is going to be. If De'Aaron Fox is that bad for the series, they probably lose the series, but Fox was horrible in that game. So there's a lot of things that the Spurs can do better. And Ant could be better too. Ant was not particularly happy with how he played either. You listen to his press conference. He wasn't super stoked with the way he played. So yeah, this is a fun series. It's the experience of the Wolves, who have been to 2 straight conference finals, versus this young up and coming Spurs team. And man, I'm pretty shocked. I got to tell my 14-year-old son this morning that the Wolves beat the Spurs, and it was you should have seen the look on his face, man. It was so fun.
Hey, do you think Wemby gave it up at the end there just because he was really cold shooting last night? He was 5 for 17, just had 11 points, and maybe he's thinking, someone else has got a hotter hand and can knock one down.
Yeah, I mean that I think fits logically, but with players like that, I mean, we've seen guys that are scorers that are like the best players on their team. Like I don't know, Kobe would go.
They want the ball. They want the ball.
Kobe would go 1 of 50 and he'd be like, all right, give me the ball,
Yeah.
So like I think there is probably something to that, because I do think that Wemby is like a real thinker, and he's like somebody that is really, he's intentional about the way that he does everything. So it could have been that. It could have been that he was gassed. He's also just never really been in that moment before. And like, you don't know what you're going to do until you're actually in that moment.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious to see if like you get to see that same moment again in game 2. Like, what does Wemby do? Does he give the ball up again? I'd be so curious to see.
Andrew Schleck with us from The Athletic. For our listeners who are watching, you've got a good setup behind you there, Andrew. You got some nice bottles. What's behind you on your little shelving unit there?
These are, well, first I have my Shaq and Kobe rubber duckies behind me, and then those bottles are Pepsi bottles from 1992. They're Shaquille O'Neal Pepsi bottles. We've got very, very old Pepsi behind me, but I'm a huge Shaq guy. So I've got a bunch of Shaq memorabilia behind me.
So are they like, was that right when he, I guess it was, he would have been what, a year or two in the league? Probably.
He just got drafted. Yeah, he just got drafted, and like he was just a marketing gold mine. And like everybody was just jumping. There's just so much Shaq stuff to get, which is so fun.
I'm sure you got to tell your boys, hey, boys, you're not cracking these bottles. You're not lifting.
Literally, I had one come in here and tell me, like, Dad, what would happen if I drank one of those? Like, don't you dare. Don't you dare. Yeah, here it is. Right here.
Yeah. You imagine that. Hey, good stuff, Andrew. Enjoy the game tonight. Yeah, bring it out. Yeah, bring it over. Enjoy the game tonight with your kids, and it's going to be exciting. That is cool. So it looks like a beer bottle from the back.
Yeah.
So, I was looking. I thought maybe it was a Coors Light label or something.
Listen, podcasting is hard, man. You're gonna have
to. Hey, great stuff. Enjoy the game tonight with your boys. I mean, that's a great experience. So, thanks for coming on, and we'll chat soon. Thanks a lot, Andrew.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, Andrew Schleck from The Athletic covers the OKC Thunder and the NBA game number 1, Lakers and OKC. And again, when you look at this series and how these two teams played each other prior, I mean, these games weren't even close. I mean, they played 2 games in 5 days, and the Lakers had some injuries in that third game. Thunder beat them that night 139-96. And then 5 days later, they played again. They won 123-87. I have a hard time in this series saying that the Lakers are going to score 100 points ever in a game. Am I wrong in that? I don't know. But if they get to over 100 points, I think it would be a minor miracle. Text 833-401-1440. King of Fort Nasty texts in. Good morning, KK, Duke, and Fenny. The Duke may need to get some floaties removed from that mangled finger. Is this true, Duke? Are you going to go under the knife?
I don't think so. It's coming along. The pain has subsided a lot. It's still fully.
Did you put some ice on it?
Oh, I ice it, pretty well every night.
Yeah.
While I'm sitting watching games or whatever. I don't really know how much it's helping at this point. I think it's mostly just slowly the pressure dissipating out of the pinch. I am wondering now, though.
Let's take a pin to it. Dude.
Maybe the nail isn't going to fall off now. I'm not too sure. It's still very black and blue, essentially, in its entirety. But if I could just let this.
But it's on your right hand.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
That's okay for
your
golf.
The right pinky finger. But hey, Kev, Tropic Slow Pitch gets underway tomorrow.
Still shouldn't bother you.
It's my throwing hand.
Yeah, but Duke, you play catcher, so it doesn't really matter.
Hey, if I could play catcher every inning, you wouldn't get any arguments from me.
I think that would be. I think that would be the position for you, Duke. Catcher.
Yeah, you would think that because you don't have no sniff.
Where's the least? Is it second base?
For what? Like the least impact you can have on the game?
Yeah.
You got to have a good second baseman.
Yeah, but it's a short throw, Duke.
Still,
I don't know. Husks text in and says, KK, I might be the only one, or it might be only once, but I think the Lakers will get to 100. I don't know if they will, Husks. We'll see. Good defense in OKC, obviously. They got Chet Holmgren. They got, the defensive player of the year. They got a couple guys that might be all defense team. I don't know. We'll see. Nails said, you will lose the nail, Duke. Doesn't like, I'm just looking at it right now. It looks fine. There's nothing to it. It looks like you got some nail polish.
Well, you came in this morning saying you banged yours up too. Now you're worried about your own golf game after you spent the past week giving me a hard time.
Because it's my left pinky, Duke, and I can't interlock right now. I need to get this.
Well, don't interlock.
Well, it's still going to be, no, you got to have
it. So when I played on Saturday, Kev, where I actually found it impacted me the most? Because, it's the top hand, you maybe just have a little bit of a looser grip, so you can't swing as hard as you normally would. That's fine. It's start of the season. Maybe you shouldn't be anyway, try and get some good feel. But, no touch with the putter or my wedges. I felt like I didn't have the touch when I would actually wrap my hands around the club because there's no firmness at the top. I don't know. I'm not saying that's the reason I putted so poorly because that's
why don't you buy a new putter like Eddie?
Well, that says I think we dove into that plenty enough yesterday. That's not my style. I'm not a blamer.
You gotta go with
I'm not one that blames the tools.
Dance with the one that brought you, Duke, or whatever.
Sure.
Okay.
Whatever cliche you want to use, I'm in for it.
When we come back, we'll get to some of your texts, 833-401-1440. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Do you have neck or back pain? Ever go for treatment hoping for a simple fix only to realize your stubborn spine is basically a science project with attitude? Hey, we get it. And honestly, we're a little sorry because great rehab does take proper experimenting. But at Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we don't just toss exercises into the beaker and hope it doesn't explode. We start with the right diagnosis, then mix hands-on care, precise manual therapy, and evidence-based technology. The formula your body actually needs. Science and skill with gratitude, not attitude. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Hit the throttle, open her up, and get rolling to Harley-Davidson of Edmonton's open house Saturday, May 9th. Enter to win a new Harley-Davidson motorcycle and get in on the giveaways and door prizes. Come check out a huge selection of new and pre-owned bikes, riding gear, Harley t-shirts, and more. Don't miss it. This Saturday, May 9th at Harley-Davidson of Edmonton on the Yellowhead Trail. Kent family owned and operated since 1980. Details at hdedmonton.com.
McValue breakfast meals are $5 plus tax every day. Get a sausage McMuffin, bagel with cream cheese product, or breakfast burrito with hash brown and small coffee, all for just $5 plus taxes. Available until 11 a.m. at Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
Great news for your weekend project. CFI, that's Custom Floors Inc., is now open 6 days a week with Saturday hours from 10 till 2. Get top quality Canadian products from Beaulieu with the convenience you need. For your free estimate, visit CFI at customfloorsinc.ca.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Struggling to find skilled workers? What if you could fill your talent pipeline with motivated, pre-vetted youth and receive funding to support your efforts? At Careers the Next Generation, we connect Alberta employers with interns in skilled trades, IT, agriculture, forestry, and more. All WCB covered, high school accredited, safety trained, and ready to contribute from day one. With 83% of RAP students continuing their apprenticeships after high school, investing in youth today means securing your workforce for tomorrow. Don't wait. Visit careersnextgen.ca to get started.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in stock, ready to deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need when you need it 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
Hi, it's Dennis from Weiss Johnson, letting you know that we'll be hosting our 14th annual charity golf tournament at the ranch on June 2nd in support of the Edmonton Down Syndrome Society. So far to date, we have raised over $325,000 that goes directly to fund various programs for this amazing organization. With your help, we hope to make this our biggest and best tournament to date, all to support a worthy local cause. To join us, please email me today, info@weiss-johnson.com. I'll get right back to you.
Sports 1440. All sports, all day.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Thanks for listening to Edmonton's sports leader.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 746 in Edmonton. You know, I've never seen so many people concerned over a tiny little pinky fingernail than on our text line, Duke, for you.
Well, Kev, you have kindness in your heart, people return kindness to you. And as a result, the listeners are worried about me. They want me to be well.
Even our buddy Bob.
That's not,
What did you do to your hand, Duke? I think he says, is he an ortho nurse? No. Maybe I can give you advice, and least impact is actually pitching. Is that what I'm reading here?
The least impact is actuality pitcher. I don't know about that.
Or else, you know,
Bob, when you're playing slow pitch and you got a bad pitcher, man, that makes for a long night.
Here's a little homework assignment for you in Fenwick.
Good.
Rube Waddell used to be a pitcher in the major leagues. I believe his name was Rube Waddell, and it's 100.
You're just sending us a wild goose chase.
Yeah, I don't know. I believe, anyway, something happened to his hand when he was a kid, and it got all mangled. And his natural release back then was like a screwball.
Okay.
But no one really knew what it was back then, I don't think, because he just threw it naturally. But the way that his hand was on the grip and everything, it changed the flight to the ball and things like that. So, or it could have been, maybe it's Carl Hubble, one of the two. 100 years ago, dude.
Yeah, here's the homework assignment.
Yeah.
Find a guy who pitched in the majors that hurt his hand.
Okay. Rube Waddell.
That is essentially the information you provided, and
He was a lefty.
a couple names that might be adjacently correct.
I don't know. I think it's Rube Waddell or Carl Hubble, one of the two. The guy was born in 1876, dude.
So how do you even know this?
Oh, when I was a kid, I was a big baseball historian. Honestly, I would read books on the guys that were from the 20s and 30s and before that.
Rube Waddell is best remembered for his highly eccentric behavior and being a remarkably dominant strikeout pitcher in an era when batters were expert at making contact.
There you go. Okay, but I don't know. I think it's Carl Hubble who had the club hand or whatever you want to call it. Carl Hubble was born even before 1903. And there you go. Baseball Hall of Fame, Duke.
So when whatever player this is, when do you recall? Like, did they hurt their hand in childhood?
Yeah,
or like when
they were younger. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm not seeing
don't know.
anything about that on either of these two players' Wikipedia pages.
Yeah. Carl Hubble struck out at the All-Star game in 1934. Struck out Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Jimmy Fox, Al Simmons. Screwball. There it is. So that was him, I think. So I don't know. These are old guys, Duke. These are guys that pitched. They would pitch 9 innings, and then if the game went to extras, they continued to pitch until their arm fell off. And they never really did because the mechanics back then were way different.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Darren says, remember Jim Ammett, the one-handed pitcher? Yes. Got the no-hitter for the Yankees. The way he threw the ball, that was crazy too, because, you know, he would, after the release, then he'd put the glove on. So he was ready to field. And I mean, it was quite remarkable.
I played slow pitch with a guy that has one arm.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Just unbelievably impressive. And yeah, he just has the glove on and he didn't pitch. He would be out in the field. He'd have his glove on. He'd like make a catch or field the ball. And then, just kind of like drop it and pull the ball out and throw it in or whatever.
Maybe we should get Bob McDermott on again.
Heck of a good athlete.
We should get Bob McDermott on again. We had him on year 1 with Gary Meyer. Remember Bob?
Oh, yeah.
He was in the accident, the farming accident, and lost his left. Is it left or right? Arm and leg. And then it turned into one of the greatest amputee golfers in the world, and won many, many championships. Club champion at the Belvedere. Beat all the able-bodied guys. Gen X Jeff says, kind of hilarious that Taylor Hall is going to win a Stanley Cup before Connor McDavid does. Well, they got 8 more wins to go after the victory last night, and Taylor Hall scored his first career overtime goal, Gen X Jeff.
They have 10 more wins to go?
10 more wins, yeah. So there's 6 there, 10 more to go. You know, on that play, it was a weird play. Travis Sanheim kind of got twisted around and was on Taylor Hall. Could have had a little better coverage, I thought, for a guy that's in such a dangerous scoring area.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't know if you got it earlier, if you were actually watching the game in its entirety or just kind of passively kept. Like Sanheim earlier literally saved 2 goals in about a 5-second sequence.
I missed that.
There was a shot that had kind of leaked through Vladar.
Was that in overtime?
No, it was earlier in the game, very clearly about to go in, and Sanheim reaches in behind him, pushes it off the goal line, and then in the ensuing scramble, another shot comes in, and Vladar is still not really in the right spot, and Sanheim makes the save with like the shaft of his stick.
I didn't see those ones, but like Philadelphia had opportunities in overtime, man.
For sure they did, yeah.
It was funny because I ended up, when I went over to the Vegas game full time, and I listened to the guys on the desk saying, and they were doing the Vegas game. And they all went, well, we weren't really watching the first period of the Vegas game because we were watching overtime.
Because they were pretty much in sync. Like the clock between the two is only separated by a minute or two. So it's not like it was half and half. They were pretty much in step with each other.
Yeah. Ontario Momes, everybody says the Oilers, hey, KK, the Oilers gave the Knights the blueprint on how not to play the Ducks. He believes Tort's success with Vegas will make the Oilers management give pause. Well, again, think about that. Like, I mean, there was opportunities here. So if I'm Vegas, I'm not confident at all. I mean, think about how confident Oiler fans were after game 1 here. They thought, oh, okay, it's one. Yeah, we came back and win. Yeah, we were down 3-2 in the third, tie it up, score the game winner with 2 minutes left. Yeah, I think a lot of people underestimated the Anaheim Ducks, media included. I can't say how the team would have been, but if you look at how the Oilers played them, and again, think about it at the very beginning. Oh, I don't want to play LA again. That would have been the best thing that could have happened. That could have been the best thing. And I stand corrected, Duke. Now I am right, and I was wrong on the first 2 guys. And Bobby's right. Now this is it. Mordecai Brown. He had 3 fingers after a farming accident. Thanks, Bobby. Thanks for this. This is great that listeners can come up with this. Yeah, Mordecai Brown. And they called him 3 Fingers Brown, Duke. But yeah, those other 2 guys were pretty good too. I don't know why I couldn't think of Mordecai Brown. But Bobby, thank you very much for that. That is awesome. And now, Duke, you can do a little history search on Mordecai Brown, 3 Fingers Brown, and you'll see how that grip helped him win a lot of games. How's that sound? Coming up at the top of the hour, Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet. We'll have Frank Saravalli to follow at 8:20. Lorianne Munzer off today, so we'll get Lorianne back in the seat next week. Before that, time now for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fusion Promo Marketing. Expand your brand, high quality promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Get noticed at fusionpromomarketing.ca. That's Fusion with a Z. Here is the Duke.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Stanley Cup playoff action last night. The Carolina Hurricanes take a 2-0 series lead over the Flyers with a 3-2 overtime win. Taylor Hall netting the winner with his 3rd of the playoffs. End of the nightcap, Vegas Golden Knights cash in an empty netter to win 3-1 over the Ducks and open up a 1-0 series lead in the Western Conference Pacific bracket. In the association, round 2 tipping off in New York with the Knicks beating the Sixers from MSG 137-98. Jalen Brunson leading the way with 35 points. And in San Antonio, Victor Wembanyama is setting a new record for most blocks in a playoff game with 12, but not enough as the Timberwolves defeat the Spurs 104-102 to take a 1-0 series lead. In the majors yesterday, Blue Jays dropped their opener in Tampa Bay 5-1. Elsewhere, Mets double up on the Rockies 4-2. Boston gets past Detroit 5-4. The Yankees beat up on Baltimore for a second straight night, 12-1. They top the Orioles. Cubbies stay hot with a 5-4 win over the Reds, and the Dodgers beat Houston 8-3. Coming up in hour 2 of the Kevin Karius Show, we'll be joined by Sportsnet's Mark Spector and Frank Saravalli from Victory Plus TV. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Your protein drink should work as hard as you do. That's why Booster Juice is hitting the gym harder than ever, brother. Meet your new gym buddies, the Way Too Good and Green Gains Booster Mixers. 2 new ripped and refreshing menu options that bench some serious protein. Perfect for pre or post workout. Way Too Good and Green Gains Booster Mixers taste like motivation. So what are you waiting for? Let's go!
Booster Juice. Canadian born, blending since 1999.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique family-owned independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
A lot of you love hockey season. But when it comes to construction season, you're not as excited unless you work for GS Construction. It's true. As one season is winding down, ours is winding up with all sorts of great projects to make the city we live in better. And our team is hiring. GS Construction is scouting for pipe layers, topmen, and heavy equipment operators. So if you want to score a great job, visit gsconstruction.ca today.
Summer in Alberta means baseball debates.
Okay, best ballpark snack. Gotta be popcorn. Nah, it's nachos, hands down.
Nah, you're both wrong. It's mini donuts. But when it comes to beef jerky, there's no argument.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky.
The only snack every fan agrees on. Grab some for your next ballpark outing.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky. Because you don't win games with salad. Only available in Leduc.
Diamond Rides is one of Alberta's premier specialty charter companies. With our luxury motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation services. Our seatbelt equipped, top-of-the-line motor coaches have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel needs across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact sales at 877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Build stamina and relieve fatigue with new Roots Herbals Energy, a well-balanced formula with D-ribose, astragalus, and ginseng. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
O'Hanlon Paving is looking for Finnish skid steer operators, Finnish grader operators, Class 1 drivers, and more to join their Edmonton road crew team. Bring your positive attitude and great work ethic to their job fair, Friday, May 8th from 10 till 3. Visit o'hanlonpaving.com/careers.
Just in time for the morning skate. This is the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 8 o'clock in Edmonton, and time now for On the Mark, brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Spring is here, and so are the Corvettes. Come see the vets inside Northgate Chevrolet's showroom and get 0% financing. See more at northgategm.com as we welcome in Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet. Good morning, Spec.
All right, Kat, what's going on, brother? How are you, man?
Oh, it's a little yesterday was busy because, the Oilers available on Saturday, and really, Monday morning was the first and Monday all day Monday, because I know you were talking about it all day, and Gregor's show, and then everywhere else, and everyone else throws their 2 cents in. So today it's a little calmer, I guess you could call it
A
that.
little more quiet. Yeah, I wonder if there's any news this week or not, or who knows, right?
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, there are a lot of potential movements out there when you think about coaches across the league. And maybe they're just waiting for some dominoes to fall, because the other thing here too, Spec, that we've seen a lot of GMs, different GMs, and they're still waiting, in some places as well, right?
So waiting, like there's no vacancies out there right now. How many vacancies are there for coaches?
Well, okay, but I'm not.
What are we doing in Toronto? But I'm not.
That's the
I know.
thing.
Let's say Toronto is Broom going to survive
Nashville.
there.
Look, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, I'm not saying that there's vacancies, but what are we waiting for? That's what I'm saying. So you can look at Nashville. You could probably throw Vancouver in there.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think in New Jersey, I mean, they hire a new GM, but I think they will stay with Keefe there. But you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of movement at the top, and you know how it all sort of funnels down a lot of the times.
Yeah, I think the dream is that Tampa moves on Cooper, and then that could be a time when a whole bunch of other teams go, we want that guy. But I don't think that'll happen.
I don't think Tampa ever moves on from him. It would be Cooper going, I want a different, it's like Paul Maurice. That's how I would say it for Cooper. He's leaving on, he's going, you know what? We won here. Maybe my voice is getting old. Maybe the message is old. And then he leaves. But I can't see Julian Brisbois firing John Cooper. Can't see it.
Yeah, no, I kind of can't see it either. So, really the guy that's out there right now is Bruce Cassidy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a year left in his deal in Vegas. So, he's the kind of guy that would like to work. Like, I think he'd prefer to be working for somebody else than sitting around golfing and taking that year, that paycheck. I think he's summers like out in Cape Cod, but there's enough jobs that his phone's going to ring here. There's it's like you say, like I don't know. We're not done. They haven't done the GM search in or whatever they're searching for in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy's going to want to coach for sure. I have a hard time seeing Chaika and Berube sort of seeing eye to eye. They don't seem like anything near the same person.
What do you think of that gong show yesterday?
Yeah, it was an interesting one. Like when the Leafs sneeze, the rest of the Canadian hockey world catches a cold, right? Like, I watched a bunch of it just because of the theater, right? What's going to happen in Toronto next? So, yeah, I don't know really what I thought of that. I'm not.
Well, I mean, your buddy Steve Simmons was the guy that rocked the boat the most.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yes. Now, like I said off the top here, Spec, I thought it would have been like if you go back, and these are totally different guys. Like Brian Burke, when he left, what was his line to Simmons?
Oh, yeah. The good thing is I'm never going to have to talk to you ever again.
So, but I looked at those three guys up there after, Simmons went on his soliloquy with, I thought was a poorly worded question for sure. That's my opinion, but, I'm not in his position.
Yeah.
But I thought that there might have been some pushback from the guys sitting up there. They just took it and they moved on.
They did.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think there's really, I'm not sure there's a way to really feel a question like that and not make it seem like it's probably true. That's probably it's hard to receive that question. It's hard to ask it. As a guy that's asked some tough questions, when you're coming with that kind of fastball, you probably rehearse it a little bit to make sure you get it right. The difference in that press conference is you got one question, then they took the mic away from you.
Right. Yeah.
So you don't get a chance to soften a guy up. You don't get a chance to ask a question and then follow it with your real, your better question. None of that. You got one shot to ask what you want to ask. And if people are saying that he came too hard, too fast, well, guess what? You got one shot. That's all you get. So I don't know how you answer that question. And I think the bigger thing for me is there is, listen, there's a lot of question marks out there about Chaika. There's stories from his past. There's things you hear out there from pretty legitimate people, so that doesn't mean that he hasn't grown up and he can't do the job and he hasn't learned from his mistakes, and away we go. Everybody's screwed up in former jobs and we do better in our next job. So I guess proof's in the pudding here, but there's a fire burning under that chair already, isn't there?
Yeah, for sure. When you're talking about coaches around the league, and I mean, we talked about Chris Knobloch yesterday morning. You talked about it with Gregor. There's one name that I want to throw out at you, and maybe he would be a really good assistant coach here to start. And he was here, and you know who I might be talking about, and it's Mark Letestu. Now, I don't know if there's a fit for him somehow, but I think this is a guy that has a lot of pedigree and a lot of street cred within guys in the room and things like that. So that's a name that I wanted to maybe throw out there for you, Spec.
Well, we all thought he'd be a coach one day when he was finishing his career up. Where is he now? Where did he spend last year?
He's in the Colorado system, so he's coaching their American Hockey League team.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's a good question. Like, that's exactly where he needs to be, is down there learning how to be a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how many years he's done it for down there, but there's for sure a smart guy. I mean, he's also a local guy, so that can't hurt, I guess. I don't really care where guys come from or where they played. When they're coming in as coaches, I just want a good coach. It doesn't matter to me if he was an Oiler or a Flame or whatever. And I think, one of the issues for those guys is they need contacts. Like they need a lot of times a coach comes in and they have their assistants already. Kevin McClellan always traveled with assistants. He brought in with them no matter where he went. Other coaches are the same. So I'm not sure about Bruce Cassidy. If, let's say you hired him, if that's what you did in any town, not necessarily just here. Is he looking far afield for his assistant coaches, or does he have two guys already that travel with him? I don't know. But Letestu's like anybody else. He's looking for his break, right? Mm-hmm. Probably not going to get it anytime soon in Colorado because Jared Bednar seems pretty entrenched there.
Yeah. And then the other guy, because, that you look at that are on, well, he's on a staff right now, but I think he did more this year because of what John Cooper was tied up with, and that's the Olympic team. And then his father passed away, so he was gone, and that's Jeff Halpern. Now, that's another guy where he's probably ready, Spec.
Probably ready. So trained under the master.
Yeah.
Right? Trained under the master. That's a guy that, like who gives that guy a chance? A veteran team doesn't, like, let's say Edmonton and Vancouver, they're opposite ends of the spectrum. Vancouver's starting over again. Edmonton's trying to make it keep lasting here. A young coach with a young team, sure. Like a guy like Halpern would be awesome in Vancouver. If I'm hiring for Edmonton, I'm hiring Cassidy, or a guy with his pedigree. I don't want a first-time guy, not with this team, not where they're at. So there's jobs out there for a Halpern for sure, and a Letestu. I don't think they're in Edmonton, but there's jobs out there for them.
Well, it's funny, the last guy the Oilers hired here was a first-time guy, and they got.
He was. You're right.
So I don't know.
I mean, and we're kind of have Knobloch fired already, and I don't. There's no. This isn't me saying they should fire him. I know that I feel like some heads are going to roll once the internal audit gets done inside that organization. I don't know that it's going to be Chris Knobloch's per se, but I feel like they're at a moment in their history, and I think that, I'm sure the owner is very involved in what's happening around here. I feel like some heads are going to roll somehow, somewhere. Don't you?
Well, there's going to be some changes. I don't know if it's going to be as extreme as many people think, though. I don't know. To me, it's just it was, and we talked about it. I mean, Stan Bowman talked about it. Chris Knobloch, one of the first things they said. So to me, after listening to Stan and Chris talk on Saturday morning, Spec, they got together and, they ended up having a beer, a coffee, whatever, because they said the same kind of thing. We couldn't get any traction. We could, we never lost more than 3 in a row or 4. You know what I mean? We never won We had a 5-game winning streak and a 3-game. We never, so that was coach speak and GM speak together in my mind.
Yeah, for sure. I wasn't, I've learned from a few things from Stan. He's a smart guy, and I've had a chance to talk to him off the record. And every guy looks at the business different. And as in your shoes or my shoes, we learn a little bit from a Glenn Sather. We learn a little bit from Ken Holland. We learn a little bit from Stan Bowman. That's just how it works, right? And Stan's a really smart guy. There's no doubt. But I wasn't particularly happy or impressed with that availability on Saturday. I thought it was a bit of a filibuster. I didn't think there was enough directness. I thought he was softening every blow possible. I don't think he took a ton of responsibility, frankly, for a couple of moves that just haven't been any good. That's just how I felt. I was a little disappointed. I think like Draisaitl fell on the sword, McDavid fell on the sword, and then they also poked a few other people with a sword. I wasn't sure that everybody that the management fell on that same sword so hard. Did you?
No, and the reason why, and that was one of the questions I asked. I said, I don't understand why you're talking before everyone else here. I really didn't.
Yeah.
Like, I know the reason why, but to me, it made no sense because what was asked to Chris? What was asked to Stan about what Connor said after the Game 6 loss? We're an average team with high expectations. Well, what do you think the question would have been to Stan Bowman had he spoken after the players?
Yeah, after Draisaitl and McDavid?
Yes. The question would have been, Leon said, Connor said, this team took a step back, and Leon said, I'm concerned about it. What's your concern, Stan?
Right.
So
that's media relations 101 right there.
Yeah.
We had, a little inside baseball. Sometimes in the past, we've done the players and we've done the management later, like a couple days later.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of went into the weekend thinking that's what was going to happen. We thought we'd have Saturday with the players and Monday with management.
Yeah.
And that plan got changed. They said, no, we'll do management the same day. And they led. Stan was the very first voice we heard. So yes, that's just a veteran GM. I'm not sure if I wasn't the GM, I wouldn't do it that way, but it doesn't work for us media guys. And it doesn't work for
the fans that want the answers.
It doesn't work for the fans that want the answers. Fair. That's fair.
Hey, a little bit off topic here because I haven't heard anything either. But HVAC Nick throws this question out. Have you heard anything about any Oilers going to the World Championship? Obviously, Connor's hurt. Maybe it's in Switzerland and Szymanski's playing because he was at the Olympics. Draisaitl hurt too. But how about even Evan Bouchard? Have you heard anything there?
Surely, I haven't heard any Canadians. And the one guy that I did check in with who's told me, no, I'm not going, is Matt Savoy.
Right.
I thought as a young guy who didn't play 2 Stanley Cups the last 2 years, he'd be a perfect guy. He's fast, he's skilled, right? But he is not.
Maybe he's hurt. Maybe he's hurt too, but I'm going every second. Whoever's asking me,
no, I was under the impression that he was not approached to go. I gotta think Szymanski's been approached. Is he going? I don't know, but there's not many good German players. He's for sure been asked, and I would think he'd go. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah, Bouchard's the question, right? That's the interesting one, is it not?
Yeah. I put, like I know what you're saying, right? Bouchard didn't make the Olympic team, and now he should go if they call and all that. I get that. Like when I hear young guys who don't go, or when I hear guys who just played a normal season and then turn down Team Canada, I think, well, what are you doing that for? That's not. You should go.
Yeah.
I don't put Bush in that category. Do you?
No. See, here's the thing, Spec, and everyone's been saying, well, they just finished playing the most games of any team in 3 years, so technically they shouldn't be going. At least the star guys. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think Bouchard. If I'm the Oilers, I don't want Bouchard going. What's he got to prove here? Like, playing in Switzerland is not going to help him for the Olympics 4 years down the road, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like his body of work's his body of work. If they don't want him, they don't want him. But he's not going to change their mind in Switzerland. He's played a lot of hockey. I don't know why Bouchard would go to the Worlds, frankly, but I could think of some young guys who should go if asked. What about a guy like Ike Howard for the American team?
Yeah.
Right.
No, hey, I'm all with you. If a player wants to go, I think that they would enjoy this experience. It's a nice country, and all the players say the same thing, do they not? That man, they have a good time, and the wives go, and it's business, but it's also sort of a holiday as well.
Oh yeah, I don't know if you're a player, it's fun. And Switzerland's a great place to go. There's sometimes they have it in a country they have a hard time getting people to come to because maybe it's not as great a place, but that's not Switzerland, right? Switzerland would be an awesome place to go to a Worlds for sure. And
Right.
if you're a guy or a family or whatever, yes, I'd be going all day. If they asked me to cover it, I might even go, Kev, why don't we talk to Greg or maybe you and Mish go staff that thing?
Maybe a guy like Kapanen plays for Finland. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question. He
Oh.
would still be a Finnish national, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
I don't know. That's a good question. Like he played for their World Junior team, scored the huge goal, won the World Juniors, I assume. Has he played internationally for Finland since then?
I don't know. It would be a good. I'd have to check on
I'm
that.
not sure, but anyhow, you watch a little hockey tonight? We got is that Buffalo series open tonight?
No, that's tomorrow. Like I said,
Oh.
I mean, Carolina is halfway home in the Eastern Conference, and Montreal and Buffalo haven't even played yet.
Yeah, well, Carolina. How about them? How about what are they on, a 6-game winning streak?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Seventh team since 2000, Spec.
Pretty good time to go on a winning streak.
Yeah.
It better not get followed by a losing streak, though. I mean,
Duke said Kapanen played at the Worlds in 2018. So that was when he
Okay.
was
Thanks, Duke.
humming along in Toronto, I would imagine. So
Yeah, so there's another guy. Like he's been injured all year. If he chooses to go. But I don't see any reason. Like I don't put any pressure on Kapanen to go. If he wants to, like the Oilers are they got to rest, man. They got to rest. Nobody on that roster really needs the extra 6-7 games or whatever it is. Some young kid like Szymanski, sure, it'll help make them better, help develop them, right?
Exactly. And
But not a
he
veteran.
was at the Olympics. Yeah, I think he plays for sure. Good stuff, Spec. We'll yak at you tomorrow, big guy.
Hey, sounds good, Kev.
Mark Spector on the mark, brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. This truck's for you. When we come back, Frank Saravalli from Victory Plus TV on the Kevin Carey Show with the Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM Radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Today on Hey Culligan, how smart is your water? Here's Tracy.
Hey, Culligan. I think my water might be dumb.
Good news, Tracy. Your water's not dumb. It's just not talking to you.
You can make my water talk.
No, but the new Culligan Smart Drinking Water System can talk to your phone to tell you when your water filters need changing and help you meet drinking water goals.
Now that's some brilliant H2O.
You said it, Tracy, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at culligan.ca.
Don't let equipment failure stop you cold. At AWS Welding in Nisku, our factory-trained service techs are on hand for all welding equipment repairs. We're a fully warranted center for Miller, Lincoln, and ESAB. And we service all makes and models. Proper, regular service extends the life of your gear and keeps it running at peak capacity. Don't wait for a breakdown. Book your service appointment today at 780-979-0470. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
Increase resistance to stress and support memory enhancement with new Roots Herbals Ashwagandha. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month. To ensure this product is right for you, always read and follow the label.
He's a legend in the booth and a master on the mic.
Low Tide brings the banter weekdays from noon to 2.
Sports 1440 is where Edmonton talks sports. Get in the game. Text 833-401-1440.
There's nothing like a spring sunset by the lake. Oh, wait, that's a pothole. And that was a new truck. Oh, what the? Springtime in Edmonton also means project time with help from Metal Supermarkets. Huge inventory cut to your precise requirements, plus metal bending, drilling, punching, notching, plasma cutting, welding, even delivery. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
Fuel prices got you down?
Subaru's here to pick you up. Subaru's electric and hybrid vehicles will save the day, helping you go further for less. Prefer a gas vehicle? Subaru Crosstrek and Impreza are built to keep costs low without sacrificing capability. Crosstrek was named 2025 Auto Trader Best Subcompact SUV, and Impreza has earned top safety pick recognition for 17 years running. Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru. Visit Subaru.ca.
Stories, guests,
And insights.
This is Sports 1440 and the Kevin Karius Show.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 8:21 in Edmonton, and time now for the headliner of the day, brought to you by Mr. Rooter Plumbing. The MVP that you didn't know that you needed for all your plumbing needs. Go to mrrooter.ca as we welcome in Frank Saravalli from Victory Plus TV. Good morning, Frank.
How you doing, Kevin?
Doing great here. Enjoying a little different May. How's that sound, Frank, than what we've had in the last couple of years? Still lots of news and lots of things to talk about. I actually wanted to start in Toronto with you and what you thought of that media availability yesterday.
I thought that was one of the most confounding, least informative press conferences that we've had. It was almost like a comedy hour.
I don't know anyone who thinks that this is headed in the right direction. Maybe we can be proved wrong, but I don't know. You talk to everybody, and I mean, you hear comments like from Ray Ferraro and all the guys that know even have the ties or had the ties in Phoenix, in Arizona to Jacob. But I mean, I'm not hearing anyone that thinks that this is the proper direction to be going.
I've yet to talk to one person that's had one nice thing to say about the Leafs' decision-making and, frankly, the process in general. And I think, if anything, what we learned is that the man making the decisions in Keith Pelley has very little, at least that he's willing to share publicly, information as to how he arrived at these decisions, because the biggest thing that stands out is that this is a reach. You're talking about a person in John Chayka who was handed a job at the age of 26 in Arizona that he never should have had, has no track record for success. And I mean, you're talking barely an NHL franchise at that point. Doesn't do anything to support it or help it. And now has a forfeiture of draft picks, gets slapped with a 1-year suspension, barred from working for any team in the league in any capacity for an entire calendar year. And then you surface 6 years later, almost to the day, and it's not a second chance. It's handed the keys to the kingdom with one of the crown jewel franchises of the NHL. And then on the other end of the table there, the podium, is Matt Sundin, a beloved player and franchise icon who has next to nothing to say. And it seems to be clear to me that even though he'll have some decision-making power, but not the ultimate power, that he's a human shield for the deeply unpopular choice at the other side of the table.
Would you be able to say, Frank, if you know some of the other candidates that were possibly looked at by Keith Pelley and MLSE here?
You cut out for a second. Would I be able to what?
Yeah. Would you be able, do you know, for certain a handful of other, candidates that MLSE and Keith Pelley would have looked at before making this decision on Chayka?
I do. Mike Gillis is one for sure. Previously with the Vancouver Canucks. Ryan Martin, assistant GM in New York with the Rangers. Scott White, accomplished assistant GM with the Dallas Stars and very experienced. Evan Gold, that's 5, if I'm not mistaken, 4 or 5 that I've named from the Boston Bruins. I mean, the big thing that stands out is, or I guess I should say another one of them, is how much was there actually a process here? Was John Chayka the anointed choice? Was this made long before this interview process even unfolded?
Yeah.
That's
Frank,
what many have wondered.
yes. So I guess the most pressing, there's two things that Jake has said that, that are top of list. He has to figure out what he's going to do with Craig Berube, and then he also has to figure out what he's going to be doing longer term with Austin Matthews. How do you think those two elements shake down here?
Well, doesn't really have a ton of say in the Austin Matthews decision-making process. That's up for the player, who not only can he decide, but has full no-move clause to how and where. So that's one part of it. He can say whatever he wants about Austin Matthews. It's the other way around. He has to court Austin Matthews to convince him to want to stay.
Yeah.
And then the other part with the head coach, I think it all comes down to, what does the rest of the candidate pool look like? Are you convinced that you have a better option? And B, are you willing to use some of the limited ammunition that you get over the course of your tenure right now? I don't know how they're going to play that. He referred to Craig Berube as a, quote, great coach. Craig Berube's also owed a lot of money. So do they start the season and see if they can get through it? Start the season and see what the results look like? Or do they make the change from the beginning? At some point, John Chayka will hire a different coach. The only question is, will it be right now?
Frank Cherivalli with us on the Kevin Karius Show here on Sports 1440. Here in Edmonton, so Chris Knobloch, his new contract kicks in at the start of next year. It's a 3-year deal that kicks in. Do you think he starts the year, Frank, as head coach of the Edmonton Oilers, or is there something else in the works that you could possibly see here in Edmonton?
I do not think he starts the year as Edmonton Oilers head coach. I would, as they're deliberating this week and reviewing where to go next and what to do, there's only so many changes that can be made for this team year over year. They have a massive offseason and massive upcoming season at stake. And I think what Chris Knobloch has shown is an incredible stubbornness to how he has deployed his players and an unwillingness to change. The team that you had a few years ago that went to the first Stanley Cup final is not the same team and collection of players that you have now. And there didn't really seem to be a big openness to adapting. Not only that, but his staff and who he surrounded himself with, I think, was problematic in that there are a lot of the same mannerism, way they comport themselves, style, as himself. He surrounded himself with very like-minded individuals, and that can be helpful, but you need some contrast. You need someone that's going to cajole things, change things up, be willing to ask hard questions. And I don't think he had that support or experience on his bench. And Paul Coffey coming in at the Olympic break was a much needed change, but probably still not enough. And if anything, an indication that, look, things aren't exactly copacetic. So I think that's a change that probably needs to be made.
Okay. Here's a two-parter for you then, Frank. Is it, so Stan Bowman didn't hire Chris Knobloch. Does that have anything to do with it? And also, how much input and say do Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl have in this?
Well, they have to be apprised of, I think, the situation, but Connor McDavid made it very clear when Chris Knobloch was hired that he didn't have anything to do with it and didn't want to have anything to do with it. And I think he's been put, unfortunately, in some really uncomfortable situations. by this organization. First off, in hiring his agent as president of hockey ops, that was, I don't think, a decision that Connor McDavid would have made. And then this Chris Knobloch situation. I think they feel like they've tried to surround him with comfortable people, make him feel good. And the inverse has happened because it's created these awkward situations where now he has a relationship, of course, with Chris Knobloch that's pre-existing. But when it comes time to, now you're going to go back to him and say, should we fire him? Mm-hmm. Or what are your thoughts on making a change? That's an uncomfortable place to be. I think it doesn't work when you do it that way.
So, sorry to keep putting you on the spot here, Frank, but if you don't see...
No, but ask away. Seriously,
that's fine, yeah.
That's the whole point of this.
If you don't see Chris Knobloch as being the guy to start next season, would you be able to handicap a list? And I mean, if you take John Cooper out of the mix, if you take him out of the mix, who's at the top of the list?
Well, the first name that you gravitate toward for this all-important season would have to be Bruce Cassidy. If you're taking John Cooper out of the mix and assuming that he stays in Tampa, which I think is the right, that's where the odds would be. I mean, Bruce Cassidy is a 2023 Stanley Cup winner, a consistent, great track record, someone whose teams defend incredibly hard, which the Oilers also need to do a lot better, and seem to have gotten the most out of their team structure. So, I mean, I can't think of a better candidate based on my view of the board right now and how I see it.
Yeah. I saw your article this morning on Hockey 24/7, Frank. There were some intriguing points. And the one guy, and I mentioned it to Spec as well, because he played here, and that's Mark Letestu. I'm not saying as a head coach, but do you think that there's an opportunity for a guy like that to come as an assistant coach before he becomes before he becomes a head coach?
He is a really well-liked guy. Yeah. I know Connor McDavid and that group really respected him and all the different details. He has, as you would know, an energy about him that is actually, I find, very similar in comportment to Glenn Gulutzan, if that makes any sense to you or rings any bell. He's got like a really good energy about him. And he's someone that is clearly going to be looking for more experience. The question is he looking for more head coaching experience or assistant? Those two ideals sort of waffle back and forth, but I could see that making a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that was...
I think...
when he was here, Frank, I mean, he was a guy that was almost like a voice of reason, sort of like an a la Zach Hyman. You know what I mean?
Well, he's very level-headed, right? And he's articulate, but he also, like Zach Hyman, does a lot of the dirty work, or as a player, did a lot of the dirty work required to be successful. So that detail-oriented approach is what made him really well-liked. Like it wasn't just that he talked and said things in a level-headed way, but also then backed it up. So I think that was an important role that he played. And what I'll say is, I think one of the true hallmarks of this Edmonton Oiler offseason is that there needs to be a clean sweep isn't the correct phrase, but there needs to be people put in positions where they feel like they can affect change. What do I mean by that? Stan Bowman didn't assemble this staff. Stan Bowman didn't assemble this coaching staff. He didn't hire this coach. The people that surround Stan Bowman, I think, are in silos. There's the old guard, and then there's the new guard. And I think there needs to be an amalgamation, a proper alignment or realignment of how this entire organization operates from top to bottom. And it's a lot to pull off in a short period of time. But I think the only chance for success is for complete alignment that exists.
When Chris Knobloch was extended, was that Stan Bowman or Jeff Jackson that pulled the trigger?
Both.
Okay. So that's kind of, we've had a couple texts regarding that too, Frank. I want to be clear on that in the sense that, he didn't hire Chris, but if he was part of extending him, he thought he was the guy for 3 more years.
What alternative do you have coming off of 2 trips to the Stanley Cup final? What are you going to do? He was, by league standards, was not a well-paid coach, was not in the top half or third, and 2 trips to the Cup final earns that.
Off the ice, we covered a lot here, but I just wanted to maybe get your quick thoughts on the Flyers and Canes last night. And Billy had a chance to even this series up, but it's almost sometimes you think there's teams of destiny and things like that. And right now, Carolina appears to be one of those teams.
Yeah, I don't view it as team of destiny.
Haven't lost
Flyers
yet.
took their best. Yeah, haven't lost yet, but the Flyers took their best shot and they missed. If you're going to come at the King, you better not miss your opportunity. And the Canes so far have been kings in the East. And I'll say too that for as well as the Flyers played in OT, like 12 shots through the first 13, 15 minutes of OT, sometimes what goes around comes around. Should have lost in OT backed way in Game 6 that would have sent them to Game 7. They won. Couple, less than a week later, you're facing a similar situation and you lose. That's life in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Frank, good stuff. Really appreciate it. Have a good couple of days, and we'll talk to you here on Thursday.
Sounds good. Thanks, Kevin.
Frank Saravalli, Victory Plus TV. Some candid comments for sure. And our headliner of the day brought to you by Mr. Rooter Plumbing, keeping you out of the penalty box. That's mrrooter.ca. When we come back, we'll get to some of your texts. They're flooding in. 833-401-1440. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Mr. Rooter gets attacked by a Canada goose.
Oh, look at that. Another on-time arrival. Nothing stops Mr. Rooter from plumbing on schedule. You gotta be kidding me. Hello, Mr. Goose. I'm Mr. Rooter. Okay. This is what you train for. Through rain, sleet, or goose, the pipes get fixed.
For a plumber who does whatever it takes, Mr. Rooter.
What's that? Is that actually spring? Like no snow squalls or bad weather tomorrow? It's actually spring? Well, GS Construction welcomes the warmer weather because that means we can really get to work. Now, it doesn't matter if there was bad weather. This is our time to shine. But we can't do it without good people to do that work. That's why GS Construction is hiring pipe layers, topmen, and heavy equipment operators. If you want to join a team who loves their work, visit gsconstruction.ca today.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocenter.com today.
Divorce is never easy, but Fairway Divorce Solutions can help.
Their clear step-by-step process addressed all our issues, and we moved through the process quickly.
Fairway didn't take sides. They saved us money and heartache.
My ex, the kids, and I feel like we'll all be okay.
At Fairway Divorce Solutions, trained mediators and in-house lawyers will move your divorce process forward in a professional and efficient manner to achieve a fair resolution and separation agreement. Visit fairwaydivorce.com.
Summer, it's coming. An unstoppable force that will turn your home into the Sweatbox.
Don't live in a summer blockbuster. Pro Solutions is your one-call-solves-it-all expert for AC repairs, tune-ups, and new installations. With fast appointments and flexible financing, we'll make sure your home story has a comfortable ending. AC season is coming soon, so book today.
Lock in pre-season pricing today.
Visit prosolutionsinc.ca to schedule your service today.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at hughescarwash.com. Build stamina and relieve fatigue with new Roots Herbals Energy, a well-balanced formula with D-ribose, astragalus, and ginseng. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
The Kevin Karius Show, breaking down Edmonton's favorite teams, even though his favorite Junior A hockey team is the Yorkton Terriers.
Thanks for checking in
with Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 8:42 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick with you here on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. Text rolling in 833-401-1440. The Duke has been replying to Darren here. Darren says, such drama in Edmonton, at Dallas and Tampa Bay in the same situation, but no drama, no media hysteria. And the Duke replied to Darren saying, Tampa Bay already has 2 cups in the trophy case. Dallas fired their coach last year after the 3rd straight West final. Yeah, I mean, Duke, you're correct in saying it's not the same situation. But again, this is a hockey. I mean, Tampa Bay, you can say they got a good fan base, but it is not like here. Same with Dallas, really good fan base, but it's not. I mean, it's the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. It's the Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. And that's how it goes. And those 2 teams and the NFL leads the way. And even more so down in Florida, college football. And you can say the same thing for Texas too. But I mean, it is not even remotely close to compare the passion and the amount of just go down on it, have a look at their media availabilities. There's no one there. I mean, there's very few people, very few outlets that cover NHL hockey in those markets to the equivalent of what it is in Canada. And it's that simple. There's just no way around it. And again, having 2 Stanley Cups for Tampa, obviously massive. Dallas, has been knocking on the door, but I mean, they lost to a pretty good upstart team here in the sense in the first series. And I mean, Minnesota made some great moves. They picked up the number 1 player that was available via trade this year. So, Duke, there was some, when Frank says, I appreciate Frank's honesty. And when he says, if you ask him a simple question, do you think Chris Knobloch will be the head coach of the Edmonton Oilers at the start of next season? And he goes, no, I do not. And, some guys would him and haw. Frank has the ability because of he's an American guy. He's not in this market. He is not covering the team on a daily basis, but he covers the league on a daily basis, which is it's underneath the umbrella. So, I don't know. See, to me, I'm not 100% sold that that's the case. But Frank is, I mean, the one thing that Frank does is a lot of homework, and he makes calls, and he puts, this because of a response from this individual on a phone call coupled with this response. And then that's when he makes his educated decisions. So, what do you make of Frank, Duke?
Yeah, very, very poignant as usual. And it's funny because you talk about, like, listen, he's plugged in anywhere, and sometimes he's running information off of sources and intel that he's accumulated, and other times, just like the rest of us that are as, unplugged as can be, just going off of intuition and saying, like, from your perspective, what would you do, or what do you think they will do? And he thinks that Chris Knoblauch will not be back, and he listed out his reasons why. And it's tough to argue with them, really. And I've kind of been, let's go back to the start of the playoffs, Kevin. And I had it as an in or out topic. I said, if of teams that like to lose in the first round, whose seat gets the hottest? And I beg Chris Knoblauch. And it's unfortunate because I do think he's a good coach and has a lot of good elements to what he brings to the table. I'm just not sure that with this team, if those assets are best deployed. And I say that fully acknowledging and aware of the fact that they went to 2 straight Stanley Cup finals, losing in Game 7 by a goal in the first go-round of that. You can only work with the pieces you've been provided, and there's lots of discourse about whether Stan Bowman has given him the best roster to work with. I also don't know if he's done the best job utilizing that roster at times too. So blame is rarely singular when you talk about disappointment, lack of execution. The more I think about it, and the kind of the law, we're what 5 days removed now since they lost. I think I'm probably leaning towards I do not think Chris Knoblauch will be back.
Money's not a factor with Daryl Cates here.
Well, no, and that's
the other, like, it's a 3-year deal that kicks in next year. I don't know if it would be $2 to $2.5 million a year. I'm probably somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
So Cates would have to cough up whatever, $7.5 million.
And that's just to get rid of one guy.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about a veteran coach with pedigree, with experience, which is what it seems like most people are in agreement the Oilers would need, as opposed to another fresh-faced guy.
Well, if you're hiring,
come with a pretty big price tag.
If you're hiring Bruce Cassidy, he's $5 million a year,
right? That's exactly it. And it's kind of funny because we're talking about the roster, right? And what kind of changes can be made between now and when the team reconvenes in September, October. The reality is management is limited by the salary cap. And some of that is their own making, right? We talk about some of these extensions that were a little bit ill-fated and not looking very good. Of course, the Darnell Nurse contract continues to loom large for this team. So those are things that you can't control the salary cap, the number. You can control how you utilize it. But there's no salary cap on how much you spend on coaching.
Oh.
And so if you talk about what's easiest for the team to do to make a significant change, unfortunately, and this is the case more often than not just with the Oilers, not just in hockey, it's across the board, it comes in the form of a coaching change.
Not Fred with a text in, and I've been saying this now for years, and it's not just these two guys, but Not Fred texts in and says, is there any coach out there that can make McDavid and Leon play a proper two-way game when it matters and throughout the season to build towards the playoffs? 3 coaches have failed so far in the last 6 years. Until this team, and I'll say it 100 more times, until this team is committed to play defensively the way the team is committed to create offensively, until the defensive ideology matches the offense, they're still going to be spinning their wheels. And that's a simple fact, because we've mentioned the plays. We've talked about certain plays and certain times in games where the attention to detail defensively, go back to, the Stanley Cup final, and it's the Matthew Tkachuk goal that was the 2-0 goal late in the first period, I believe. And Connor McDavid, he's perfect position, absolutely perfect. But what does he do? He goes and puck chases, goes to the puck where the puck is instead of turning his head on a swivel. Matthew Tkachuk is behind him, scores. What about in this series with Anaheim? Leon Draisaitl, again, playing on one leg. But Leon makes this play all the time. He's got the goal, the third goal that Anaheim scored. He's got to get the puck out. He has to be able to get the puck out. And how many times do we mention and talk about that on the blue line? And I call it rink board advertising on either side. And the Oilers do not win enough of those battles. They don't get pucks in. They don't get pucks deep. And they don't get them out when they need. And they lose battles there. And to an extent, if you look back to the 2 Stanley Cup finals, what the Florida Panthers did, where did the Oilers lose big parts of the game? Right along the boards. And this would be a little hair down the wall from where one rink board of advertising is. But what would they do? They'd ring the puck. And by the time the forward would have a play, the Florida defenseman would be on him. And then that F3 forward on Florida's team would support that D-man. And they would be in perfect position just in case the Oilers got it out. But for the most part, the Florida Panthers kept the puck in. And what would happen? So now you're, instead of a 20-second shift or a 30-second shift, now you're 45, 50 seconds. And even when you do get it out, what are you doing? You're going to change because you're gassed. So until the Oilers play with attention to detail and play as hard as they do trying to create offense, they'll never win. They'll never win the Stanley Cup. And that comes to not Fred's post about, it's been coaches. 3 coaches have failed so far. So to your post then, not Fred, that comes down to one word, and that's accountability. So how do you make players accountable? Well, you take away what means the most to them, and that's ice time. Because if you cannot play hard defensively, well, maybe you should just watch a little bit. And that's everyone. That's Connor. That's Leon. That's everyone on the team. And you are going to have blips in the radar. You're going to have points of the season where it's not going well. The important part of that is to get away from that and grab that momentum back. Lots of text to get to 833-401-1440. Derek, boys, look at Yzerman and Fedorov in their early days with the Red Wings. They were a dynamic scoring machine. Couldn't win a cup. They finally get a coach to teach them defensive hockey. Then they were a powerhouse dynasty. Took Yzerman 13 years to win a cup from Derek. Well, I totally agree here, Derek. But do you think that Knobloch is telling these guys, don't play defensive hockey? Do you think the coaching staff is saying, no, don't worry about that. Don't worry about coming back hard. Don't worry about it. We'll be fine because you guys will outscore your problems. Not a chance. And these guys it has to come from within. It has to come from within. Eventually, you would think it will. Hey, top of the hour, we're going to switch gears and talk a little Blue Jays baseball with Thomas Hall from Blue Jays Nation. We got Tom Reed, Minnesota Wild color analyst. It was a time warp for Tommy Reed going back 50 years with a 9-6 game in the opening game of that series with Colorado. I don't think we're going to see 15 goals tonight, are we? Who knows? But Tom Reed will be with us at 9:20. Before all that, time now for a Sports 1440 update. Brought to you by AWS Welding Supplies and Nisku. Product sales, servicing, calibrating, and free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc, Nisku, and South Edmonton. Your one-stop shop for all things welding. AWSwelding.ca. Here is the Duke.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Stanley Cup playoff action last night. The Carolina Hurricanes opened up a 2-0 series lead over the Flyers with a 3-2 overtime win in Raleigh. Taylor Hall with his third of the playoffs, netting the game-winning goal. In the nightcap, game 1 between the Ducks and Golden Knights in Vegas saw the Knights take it 3-1 with an empty netter to seal it late in the contest. That gives them a 1-0 series lead. In case you missed it, yesterday afternoon, the PWHL expected to announce today another expansion team with Elks Sports and the city of Detroit. Pulled on a presser this morning to announce Detroit as the next expansion franchise inside the Professional Women's Hockey League. In the association, round 2, tipping off, starting with the Knicks and Sixers from MSG in New York. Knicks take it 137-98, led by Jalen Brunson's 35 points. And in San Antonio, the Timberwolves surprised the Spurs 104-102 to take a 1-0 series lead. Victor Wembanyama with a new playoff record, 12 blocks in the loss. And over in the majors, full slate of games yesterday, including the Blue Jays dropping their opener in Tampa Bay by a score of 5-1. Elsewhere, the Yankees beat up on the Orioles again, 12-1 the final in Baltimore. Philly blank Miami 1-0. Boston gets past Detroit 5-4. And the Dodgers top the Astros 8-3. Coming up in hour 3 of the Kevin Karius Show, we'll be joined by Thomas Hall from Blue Jays Nation, as well as Minnesota Wild analyst Tom Reed. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440,
A Stingray radio station.
broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Craving a dining experience that rises above the rest? Head to Summit Restaurant in the Silent Ice Center, just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Savor exceptional house-made pizza, delectable entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails in a stylish, modern atmosphere. Perfect for a casual meal or a special night out. Summit offers a refined experience where every bite and sip reflects our dedication to quality. Elevate your dining experience. Make Summit Restaurant your destination tonight.
I'm good to go. With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. MortgagesToGo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly, guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say, I'm good to go.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Would you like to be a part of history for the month of April? I'm kidding. Or as the kids say, bro, I'm joking. Would you like to help us set a record in April? Chill. Still kidding. At Northgate, we aren't trying to set any records or tell you how many vehicles we sell, and we really don't think you'd care. But what you will care about is this. Every dealer has the same costs. Trust me. GM does not have a favorite kid. You get to decide where you buy. 0% financing, a great selection, and of course, great people. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Increase resistance to stress and support memory enhancement with new Roots Herbals Ashwagandha. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month. To ensure this product is right for you, always read and follow the label.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Everybody loves a beautiful day in Edmonton. Hey, it's Jamie, and Green Drop Lawn Care is giving you one more reason to love the nice weather. Next Nice Day service. People always ask, how soon can Green Drop get here? Well, when you sign up with Next Nice Day service, we'll be there by tomorrow. Assuming Mother Nature cooperates, we'll be fertilizing and treating your weeds by the very next day. We'll even include Drought Fighter at no additional cost. Just another reason we have been Canada's lawn experts since 1979. Easy online signups only at greendrop.com.
Canadian Tire's Big Spring Tire Sale is back. Save up to 25% on quality tire brands including Continental, Michelin, Motomaster, and Pirelli until May 21st. Conditions apply. Details online.
For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Area Adjusted and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the two best names in the boots business.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 9:01 in Edmonton. Time to talk a little Blue Jays baseball as they continue their series down in Tampa Bay against the Rays, losing the series opener by a score of 5-1 yesterday as we welcome in Thomas Hall from Blue Jays Nation. Good morning, Thomas. You're with Kevin Karius. As always, thanks for jumping on Sports 1440 this morning. Really appreciate it.
Of course, it's always a blast catching up with you and talking some Jays here, Kev. It's been, better, I guess, since the last time we talked about this team, but still not heading in the direction that they want to, at least yet.
Yeah, I mean, we always start with some negative stuff, but there's some positive things as well. But, Vladimir Guerrero, to me, I've been watching his at-bats, and, man, I don't have to tell you he's hitting for pretty good average, but what is his launch angle off? What are we looking at here, Thomas, in the sense that he's only got the 2 home runs and doesn't have a whole heck of a lot of runs batted in? Is it just a slow start? But now we're talking, a month and a half here already.
Yeah, it's been really fascinating to watch. Definitely the mechanics have been definitely a watching point for the Blue Jays. The ground ball rate too, which has come down in recent weeks for Vladdy, but certainly in April it was hovering over 50%, which is not where Vladdy or the Blue Jays would like to have it. But I think this is part of a bigger trend for Vladdy, where we've now seen the last 3 seasons in a row where he's gotten off to slow slugging starts. For whatever reason, I don't know if there's, something quantifiable that the Blue Jays can target. It might just be one of those weird things where this is just, a regular occurrence for Vladdy, where he needs a couple of months to really feel like his mechanics and timing are in a good spot where he can start launching balls again. I mean, we've seen flashes of that from Vladdy. Like I feel like there's been a handful of times where I've been, either sitting at home watching road games or sitting in the press box thinking, man, like he's that close from having one of these offensive breakouts, and he just hasn't been able to carry it forward over a consistent span just yet. But like you said, he's still like, this is the great thing about having Vladdy on your team is even though he only has 2 home runs on the year and his slugging percentage is only at .431, he's able to do so many more things at the plate to still be a productive hitter. And that's what makes him one of the most talented hitters in all of baseball, that even when he's struggling to hit for power, he's still been almost 40% above league average on the year through 35 games. And so there's still a lot of positives to take away from his at-bats. It's just, especially when the Blue Jays aren't slugging as a team, I think these issues or this trend gets a little bit more magnified at this point in the year.
Thomas Hall from Blue Jays Nation, our guest on Sports 1440. Looked like George Springer was going to grab a bat there in the 9th. Had the Jays got some runners aboard. Took another one off the big toe there again the other day. How's the big guy at the end of the line there? How's he doing?
Oh man, he just can't catch a break. Like it's one of those things where it's like, it really makes you think what the Blue Jays did to piss off the baseball gods, because they've really just thrown everything at the Blue Jays through these first 6 weeks. Thankfully, it sounds like George Springer didn't suffer any additional damage to that left big toe. It's still fractured, but I'm sure after having another foul ball hit off it, that inflammation returned. And so he's just needed a few more days here to get that reduced a little bit more to the point where he can feel comfortable in swinging and running the bases if needed. Sounds like we'll likely see him back in the starting lineup today, which would be great. Even though, the Blue Jays have had some productive contributions from that leadoff spot without Springer, it's been really, really interesting to see what Ernie Clement, Miles Straw, even Yohendrick Pinango of late being able to do in that leadoff spot. But there's no better option than having George Springer set the table for this lineup. As much as the offense tends to run through Vladdy, when you have a guy like Springer who can set the tone for you and is one of the best leadoff hitters of his generation, there's no replacing that. And so, it will definitely be a good sign if the Blue Jays can get him back in there. And as well, in a few days, possibly as early as Wednesday, the Blue Jays might be able to get Addison Barger back in the lineup too, which would certainly help lengthen things out a little bit more for them.
For sure. Offensively, the start of the season for Kaz Okamoto has been, there was a few weeks ago where you were thinking, okay, is he going to figure it out? And then all of a sudden the home runs started soaring out. And I mean, hey, we're talking soaring out. Like, he's not just clearing the wall here, is he?
No, he's not. He's hitting bombs. That Minnesota series, it really, I think, opened up a lot of eyeballs amongst Blue Jays fans just to really get a sense of how much power Okamoto genuinely has. I think for anyone who was really skeptical about what he could do offensively coming over from Japan, really, at least calm the waters a little bit here with his recent surge. And, it's funny. Like when you go to the World Series, expectations are sky high, right? And so that doesn't really give somebody like Okamoto a lot of room to adjust and have that, expected transitional phase coming over from Japan. And I think a lot of the fan base was probably expecting too much out of him out of the gate. Like, just as a human being coming over from the other side of the world and adjusting to a whole new lifestyle, that's not easy. And I think it's easy to forget that these guys are regular people at the end of the day too. So on top of facing high velocity that he's never seen before and sharper breaking balls and off speed pitches that are dialed up to 1,000 over here in North America, all of that is on top of the struggles and difficulties that any person would have to face making that sort of change. But as we've seen over these last few weeks, Okamoto has now been able to make sort of the adjustment to the adjustment, because he did have a strong start out of the gate against the A's and the Rockies as well. But then teams started adjusting to Okamoto. They started attacking him with a lot of outside pitches. And so now that he's had to make that adjustment, going deeper in the batter's box, stepping a little bit closer to the plate, giving him a little bit more time to react to these pitches, allowing him to start making loud contact against those outside pitches. Now he's forcing teams to attack him inside, which is where his strength is. So it's been really impressive to watch him make this adjustment. And, I know he's been hitting in the 2 spot, these last few games, but I've really come to like how he's been able to perform in that cleanup spot behind Vladdy. And so I think that's where his home may end up being long-term, but right now, having him anywhere in that top 4 of the order is certainly good news for the Blue Jays, given the way he's been hitting lately.
And you know what, Thomas, it's almost like he's got a little contest going with his countryman, Munetaka Murakami, who's got 14 dingers in Chicago for the White Sox. It's an interesting dynamic between the two of those players, coming over. And as you said, lots of adjustments and things like that. Now, pitching-wise, the biggest story, I think, right now in the first – even call it the last couple of weeks, has been the change at closer, and Louis Varland, who gets Player of the Week honors as far as a reliever goes. He has been just lights out coming out in the closer spot. How much has that change helped how the setup is as far as the bullpen goes? And where you feel confident, just feel confident in the ninth inning of games now?
Yeah, I think, the biggest thing right now with the offense not being able to consistently produce a lot of runs for this pitching staff is it kind of just lessens the pressure, I guess, on the rest of the bullpen to just pitch with zero margin for error. When you can get into those late inning situations and okay, the way Jeff Hoffman has beautifully accepted this transition and the results are starting to come back to where they need to be, you can go, okay, like Hoffman or Rogers, 7th, 8th, and you have Louis Varland in the 9th, who's arguably been like right up there with Mason Miller as the most dominant relievers in baseball to start this season. I think it's allowed these pieces to settle in, at least of late, much better than they did, say, for much of April. But I think at the end of the day, too, like in this modern baseball era, you can't just have one traditional ninth inning guy. I think you need multiple capable relievers to be able to step in and provide, quality in those safe situations. And I think for the Blue Jays, getting Jeff Hoffman right again and having him earn his way back into that type of role is something that can set them up for more long-term success moving forward. But I think right now things are in probably the best spot they've been all year. And I think with Louis Varland as a whole too, I've been so impressed with not only the way he's handled these extra responsibilities, but I think just the way that the Blue Jays have gotten him to be the best version of himself, even compared to the version of what we saw from him last year, where it was basically just fastball, knuckle curve. There were some home run issues, obviously, too, in that version of Louis Varland last year, but still dominant stuff. But now we've seen an even more advanced version of Varland this year, where it's not just two pitches, it's the sinker, it's the changeup that has become arguably his third best pitch in his arsenal. And it's further proof that one day he could be, a lights out full-time closer if a need ever like that comes to fruition. But I think too, the future for Varland is limitless. I think whether it's as a, full-time closer or potentially even a starter again, if the Blue Jays want to eventually go down that road with him, if they ever don't have as much of a need for him in the bullpen, I think he's one of those, he's like the perfect Swiss Army knife who can just do it all for you. He could pitch in the first inning. He can pitch in the ninth inning. He is probably the most important reliever on this team. And so to see him get off to this dominant start, it makes John Schneider's job certainly a lot easier too.
And what have you thought about Trey Savage in his 2 starts since coming back? And how do you think they handle him here moving forward, being, cautious and careful here?
Yeah, I think, like you said right there, I think that's exactly what the Blue Jays need to do with Trey. Not only are these games right now really important, but you also can't lose sight of the bigger picture with Trey. He's not only just a really important arm for you in 2026, but he's also one of your most important starters moving forward over the next 5 to 10 years. And so I think it's just protecting your investment as much as you can while also balancing the need for win now. Through 2 starts, it's certainly been, it hasn't been the perfect, postseason stuff that we saw from Trey Savage, understandably so. It's early in the year. He's coming off of the shoulder injury that shut him down for most of spring training, and he's still not fully built up either. So I think tempering expectations is definitely something that needed to be done early on here with Trey. And I think, because he's not fully built up, this also gives the Blue Jays a little bit of a easy excuse to further manage his workload in the first half here to, kind of replicate what they did last year to try and ensure that he has enough gas left in the tank come September and October. So if that means, oftentimes through these first few months, limiting him twice through the order, maybe capping him around 5 innings rather than trying to push him to 6 and beyond and getting his pitch count beyond 100 pitches. I think that's probably the give and take that they're going to have with Trey here. But at the end of the day, I think they're going to let him decide how much they push him. And just, the Blue Jays have done a really good job of creating this open environment, really well communicated environment with their players where, it's not just one side. It's not just a one-sided dialogue. It's mutual. And so if Trey communicates that he feels like the Blue Jays can push him a little bit more than they have been doing, then they'll probably attempt to do so. But I think it'll be something that they have to, monitor carefully from start to start moving forward here over the first few months as Trey, builds himself up and gets further and further away from that shoulder injury that he entered into camp with.
Well, we'll see if the Jays can get back in the win column after last night's loss. We got Gosman up against Drew Rasmussen tonight in game number 2, Corbin and McClanahan for tomorrow. As always, Thomas, thanks so much for your insight on the Blue Jays. Enjoy the rest of this set, then a day off, and then it's back at home for games against the Angels in Tampa again. As always, thanks for coming on, Thomas. Appreciate it, man.
Of course. Thanks for having me on, Kev. And I'll just say before I go too, I hate that the Oilers couldn't keep this playoff streak alive. I was really looking forward to being able to talk some Oilers with you coming on today, but they couldn't pull off the victory against the Ducks.
It's a different feeling here, Thomas. I can tell you that because, the last 2 years we were May and June, all hockey, and it's a little different feeling for sure right now. So we'll see what happens next year.
Yeah, should make for an interesting summer. Anyway, always great catching up with you.
Yeah, thank you. That's Thomas Hall from Blue Jays Nation. When we come back, just one game in the NHL in the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. It's Minnesota at Colorado. And Tom Reed, a Minnesota Wild color analyst, will be with us right after the break on the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne and Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM Radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Would you like to be a part of history for the month of April? I'm kidding. Or as the kids say, bro, I'm joking. Would you like to help us set a record in April? Chill. Still kidding. At Northgate, we aren't trying to set any records or tell you how many vehicles we sell. And we really don't think you'd care. But what you will care about is this. Every dealer has the same costs. Trust me. GM does not have a favorite kid. You get to decide where you buy. 0% financing, a great selection, and of course, great people. Stop in and see us today. 13215 97th Street or business online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Build stamina and relieve fatigue with new Roots Herbals Energy, a well-balanced formula with D-ribose, astragalus, and ginseng. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Alan Olson Auctions invites you to bid on the unreserved auction for Raymond Halushka of Breton, Alberta. Online bidding is open for one final day today at alanolsonauction.com. Items up for sale include a variety of tractors, construction machinery, trucks and trailers, passenger vehicles, RVs, haying, harvest, and tillage equipment, and more. For more information on this sale, call Alan Olson Auctions at 403-843-2747 or visit alanolsonauctions.com today.
Whether you're refinancing or buying your first home, mortgages are easier with help from a neighbor. At Vision Credit Union, you get face-to-face guidance from local lenders who know the market because, well, they live here too. They'll look at your whole financial picture with practical advice for payments, renewals, refinancing, and what makes sense long-term. Get a more neighborly mortgage. Contact your branch today or visit visioncu.ca.
Just in time for the morning skate. This is the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440.
Program 922 in Edmonton, and time now for the Puck Report, brought to you by Fountain Tire. And at Fountain Tire, when we say we are on this road together, we mean it. From tires, wheels, and oil changes to vehicle repairs, visit fountaintire.com to find out more. As we welcome back Tom Reed, Minnesota Wild color analyst, to the show. Good morning, Tom. You're with Kevin Karius. As always, thanks for jumping on Sports 1440 this morning. Really appreciate it.
Well, glad to do it. It's raining here in Colorado right now, and they're saying they're getting some snow tonight, so we're got to get out of here.
You got hockey weather down there, Tom.
Hockey, are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me, Tom? Can you hear us?
Oh, yeah. I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Yeah. I'm just saying, if it's going to snow, you got some hockey weather down there, Tom.
We've seen enough hockey weather. I want to get some more.
You're like everyone else here. We had just a real crappy spring, and now it's finally turning up here in Edmonton. But man, you must have thought, Tom, that you were in a time warp in a hot tub time machine on Sunday with those 15 goals in game one.
Yeah, it brought back a couple of memories. One being when back to the old North Star days and playing against the Winnipeg Jets. And I think Minnesota won that game 15-7, if I remember it correctly, someplace in that area. But that's a lot of goals. A lot of in those days, the goal judge was behind the net, so they needed a little bit of solar cane on their neck after that game.
Yeah, the old solar cane. I was thinking back in the day when you and Dougie Hicks were D partners about all the times that maybe you were in a dozen goals a game and things like that.
Well, yeah, he saved my bacon many times because he was a skater, no doubt about it. But he was a great guy. Glad to see he's done well, certainly up in Edmonton.
Yeah, for sure. So, Tom, how do the Wild tighten things up here for game number 2 tonight?
That's kind of an anomaly also, that game, for both teams. I mean, both these teams want to play a defensive style of game, but it just didn't happen. They just opened the door and here they come, and it came in waves. It was kind of almost comical, the number of opportunities that were given to the teams in that quest there for the win. But I just listened to the coach of the Avalanche talk also, and he said that was, these are two good defensive teams, and they just didn't show it in that game. So we'll see who rises to the top on this one tonight.
Yeah. What did you think when Marcus Foligno scored that shorthanded goal on Sunday? Did you feel like doing the game, okay, things are sort of turning the Wild's way here?
Well, that's what we thought. If you remember, too, Marcus had a hat trick in Toronto when we played against the Leafs this year. That's his first and only hat trick I'm sure he'll have in his career, but you never know. But and it was interesting, too, because watching McKinnon was behind him trying to catch up to him, and he couldn't. And Marcus was able to stuff that one away, being a shorthanded goal. So that was fun, certainly for him and for the team. But all in all, Minnesota's got to really tighten up their defensive core. There's no question. That's defense wins a lot of games for you, especially in playoff competition.
Yeah. What have you made of Quinn Hughes so far in these playoffs here, Tom?
amazing, just an amazing talent that he has, and what he has brought to the table for this hockey club. He and Brock Faber have really worked so well together. They read off of each other, and I think each one of them have helped to make their partner a better player. But when you watch Quinn Hughes, I've never seen a player that can walk the line, that blue line, and control the puck with people chasing him and trying to get to him and the puck than he can. I mean, he's amazing. He's got great eyesight. His anticipation. He knows where to go with the puck, and his skating ability is next to none.
How do players like that, and can you compare him to anyone who sort of dictate and change the pace of play? To they want to play. It seems like they can go faster, quicker. They pull it back. Does he ring a bell with you? And how much does that come into how successful he is, Tom?
Yeah, there's a guy I used to start playing against in junior back in 1964, and then made his way and wore number 4 in Boston. I think that guy's name is Bobby Orr, if I remember correctly. But Bobby changed the game. There's no question about it. I mean, he because in our era, most of us, including myself, were all defensive minded. We very seldom would go beyond that far blue line. Our job was to protect our end and keep the puck out of the net, not so much scoring goals. But Bobby changed that, and it's been great for the game because so many players really started to emulate him and what he did offensively. And I looked down the list. There's so many different guys that really have stepped up offensively because of what he brought to the tables back in the early 70s.
Tommy Reed with us, a Minnesota Wild color analyst. So, don't have to tell you that Brock Faber is a hell of a defenseman too. And he's been around a while now as well, playing, a couple hundred games plus. But how much has Quinn Hughes helped Faber along here, Tom?
Well, that's what I was saying. I think they really help each other. They read off of each other so well, and they communicate on the bench, on the ice. They know exactly what each party's going to do in certain situations. But they both are very offensive minded, but they can still play the defensive part of the game as well because they've got that ability to foresee where the puck is going to go and what guys are going to do with the puck. But those two guys really have helped each other along the way, and then they're a big part of the success of the team this year.
Yeah, I think I asked you too the last time you came on because he's a local guy in Jared Spurgeon, who's just, for people to see him come in and play 15 years in this organization and be over 1,000 games and now, chasing a real legitimate shot to win a Stanley Cup here. What's he meant to the organization here, Tom?
It's interesting. When he first came to Minnesota, and of course they had their prospect camp in Traverse City, Michigan, and Jim, a friend of mine who was scouting for the Wild at that time, told me, he said, "We got this kid coming. He's going to be an awesome defenseman for your team." I said, "Oh, what's his name?" He said, "Jared Spurgeon." I said, "Oh, what's he play?" He said, "He plays defense." "Oh, good. He's a big, tough guy." Well, not quite. And I said, "How big is he?" He says, "I think he might be 5'7", 5'8". I said, "There's no way this guy's going to last in the NHL at that size." Well, prove me wrong, and good for him. He has. He's been a great leader for this hockey club. He wears the C, and there's a reason he wears that C. And of course, when you have a guy like alongside of you, when you've got some of the senior members helping you along, you learn a lot as a captain. And he really has done a good job with this hockey club. And he's starting to wind down a little bit. He's been around for a lot of years, so he knows exactly what he has to do. But what's he got? 16 years, I think, in the NHL right now, and it's wonderful to watch him play and how he interacts with his teammates.
Has he been partnered up with Jacob Middleton for the most part? And then how do they work so well together, Tom?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Spurge is the guy who likes to play a little bit of the offensive part of the game too, but he certainly is good defensively. And not being a big guy, he just knows how to take people out of the play. He knows how to gather the puck when they're on the boards. If two big guys come in there against him, and I've seen it time and time again, especially early on in his career, two big guys going in after him, he comes up with the puck, and then they're left standing there wondering what just happened here. And so he's one of those players, but then you got Middleton, who's brings a little bit of muscle to the hockey club, which is good to have. I don't think our whole team as a whole defensively we're not very good the last game, and Middleton had a tough game, but they'll bounce back. I mean, every player goes through it. He has certain situations that just don't go the way you want it to go, and there's times when you make a mistake and we just want to kind crawl underneath one of those face-off dots and hide under there. But it doesn't always work that way. But I think Middleton, you learn from making mistakes. You hope you learn, and if you don't learn, then you won't be in the National Hockey League. But I think those two guys are pretty solid together.
Tom Reed with us on Sports 1440. Up front, what's the situation with Joel Eriksson Ek, Tom? Will he be back at some point in this series?
We don't know that. Jules becomes Jules Eriksson Ek, and he's when we don't have him, we don't have Brodin. I mean, those are two of our top defensive players in the NHL, and it really it certainly has put the workload on the rest of the guys trying to combat in the defensive part of the game, obviously. But when I think of those two guys, I think, boy, I mean, we've got two very good guys out of the lineup who create havoc in the fire end, that being Ecker. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you've got Brodin is so good because of his skating ability, able to take the players out of the play and make that first pass out of his own defensive zone to keep the puck going north. Those two guys are sorely missed. And this was that last game, and I say this not because of sour grapes, but at the same time, our team had two games. We had a very tough series against Dallas. It was a physical series. It was a long series, and it was 6 games. And our guys had 36 hours between games of the final game against Dallas and then the first game against Colorado. And it was tough. And Colorado won their first 4 games. They had 8 days off, 8 days in the playoffs. And our team had 36 hours. So if you figure that one out. But I think our guys are a little more rested now mentally and physically, and hopefully that'll help them tonight.
Yeah, great point by you there, Tom. So with Eriksson Ek out and Danila Yurov coming in, I mean, this guy's getting thrown right into the deep end here. How do you think he performed in game 1, and what adjustments do you see him, I guess, making for game number 2 here?
Well, it's a learning process for him. First of all, the rink size is different than what he's used to playing in Europe and so on. It's a little bit tighter rein for him right now, so he's got to just work on his game defensively, how he manages the puck and so on. And working with the coaches has been great. This is a kid who's going to have a good future with him. Right now, he's not a big guy. He's not a real physical guy, but he is a skilled guy, and hopefully that'll help the team. Yeah. Tom Reed with us on the Kevin Karius Show here on Sports 1440. When you're analyzing the games and doing the games, Tom, are you the type of guy that goes, okay, well, obviously there's McKinnon and McCarr, and, they got some great players over there. But when you're looking at it from a Minnesota standpoint, you go, well, but if we do what we're supposed to do, let's worry about our own stuff instead of those guys. Or where's your balance there, Tom? Yeah, and you're right. You look at it, and you know that when you look at, and you mentioned a couple of guys, obviously with Colorado. I mean, this is a very fast team. The thing they have is speed, and they have skill. And it starts with McKinnon. I mean, there's no doubt that he's one of the premier players in the National Hockey League, has been for a number of years, and will continue to do so. But when you have a blue line like they have, when you have Taves back there, and you have McCarr, I mean, you've got some leadership back there from guys who have been there for a number of years now and know exactly what they have to do. And then you bring in a guy like Brock Nelson, who's a seasoned veteran with 14 years. He part of the Olympic gold medal team this year with the U.S. and he's one of those guys that will give you that leadership also. But the defensive part of the defensemen for the Avalanche are just absolutely stunning when you watch them. And once they get the puck, they can take off in a heartbeat. And McKinnon, I'm always amazed at the acceleration he has from a standing still position and how he can jump up in the play and make some good things happen for his team. Hey, what did you think of Brett Kulak? We could sure use him here. I could tell you that, Tom. Well, I think you're going to need more than him. but you're absolutely right. But here's a guy. I mean, he's paid his dues. I mean, he's been in the playoffs a number of times. He knows what he has to do. And one thing, he's reliable. He's played every game, I think, for the last 3 years, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. But he's one of those guys that had some moxie about him too. I mean, he's not afraid to jump up in the play, but. He's just a guy that I think certainly gives a little more leadership back there as well, in a very quiet way. And the players on the team can sense it. The fans may not always see it, but he's a nice addition to the Colorado team. Yeah, for sure. And when they traded for Kadri, everyone talked about
the strength at center that the Avs have. How do the Wild counter that? And I'm even thinking of a big guy in McCarron that maybe has to step it up again, even with Eriksson out.
Yeah, and he has McCarron's come in now. He's a guy that also knows what he has to do. He's been to the playoffs a few times. I think 4 times now, if I remember correctly. But he's got some size. He's got some moxie about him, but he's got to use it to his advantage also. I haven't seen a lot of physicality from his game yet. I see it in spurts, but I don't see it on a consistent basis. So hopefully he'll get into the role of being able to do that. He's picked up a couple goals already in the playoffs, so that's good for him and good for the team.
Hey, Tom, as always, thanks so much for your time. Enjoy game number 2 tonight. Then you can get back to Minnesota where you got some better weather, right?
Well, they closed the airport a couple of days ago because it was so windy. So hopefully we can get out of here today after the game.
Good stuff. Thanks, Tom. Enjoy game 2 tonight.
All right.
Tommy Reed, Minnesota Wild color analyst. I'm surprised we never got a text from Doug Hicks, Duke, because Hicksy, every time Tom Reed comes on, wow, that was one of my defense partners, da-da-da-da-da. But Hicksy will always say that his last defense partner and was Bobby Orr. And that's what Tommy always says too. So that's the Puck Report brought to you by Fountain Tire. And again, book your appointment at FountainTire.com. Today, we care about one thing. It's your vehicle. When we come back, we'll get to some of your texts, 833-401-1440. Plus, we will go in or out with the Duke of Delburne. That's straight ahead with KK the Duke. Also, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM Radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
McValue meals are here. Get the McD's you love for $5 plus tax every day with your choice of a McDouble, Junior Chicken, or Chicken Snack Wrap with small fries and small fountain drink. All for just $5 plus taxes. Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
The tents are up and the deals are out. The Brick's biggest sale of the season is on now. Take up to 60% off clearance items in the tents. Sofas start at $3.99. And save up to 50% on select mattresses. Get a sofa, coffee table, mattress, bed frame, and dining set, all for less than $1,500. Only at the Brick's tent sale. See in store for details and exclusions. The Brick, saving you more.
Increase resistance to stress and support memory enhancement with new Roots Herbals Ashwagandha. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month. To ensure this product is right for you, always read and follow the label.
Hey there, I'm in the Fountain Tire sidecar, making a list of the things I'm doing this spring. 1. Saving you money, with up to 20% off select tires until June 13th. 2. Water skiing, tricky in a sidecar, but fun. And 3. Saving you more money, with mail-in rebates of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires and $50 off a $150 service with the purchase of 4 select tires. Oh, that's 4 things. Oh well. Restrictions apply. Book online at FountainTire.com. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Hi, it's Dennis from Lease Johnson, letting you know that we'll be hosting our 14th annual charity golf tournament at the ranch on June 2nd in support of the Edmonton Down Syndrome Society. So far to date, we have raised over $325,000 that goes directly to fund various programs for this amazing organization. With your help, we hope to make this our biggest and best tournament to date, all to support a worthy local cause. To join us, please email me today, info@east-johnson.com. I'll get right back to you.
My, this sushi is just exquisite.
And I am obsessed with these crab legs.
You must have spent the whole day in the kitchen preparing this feast for us. Or did I?
Entertain with unbelievable ease. The secret is catch of the week.
So you're telling me you were able to buy a ready-to-serve platter that is this fresh?
Catch of the week, Edmonton's best seafood. Just off the Henday in Capilano, only 5 minutes from Sherwood Park. Details and directions online at catchoftheweekedmonton.com.
The world doesn't stop. Neither should your news. TuneIn keeps you connected with live news coverage from every corner of the globe as it happens. From breaking updates to expert analysis, hear every angle from known stations like BBC, NPR, Fox News Radio, CNN, and more. Wherever you are, TuneIn is your front row seat to the news that's shaping the world. Download the TuneIn app to listen or search News on TuneIn to stay in the know.
You're listening to Sports 1440 and watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Sports 24/7. We are Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 941 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick with you here on Sports 1440 AM radio. Text rolling in at 833-401-1440. MTR goes, oh, hot tub time machine reference. You like that one, Duke, apparently. I don't know. Like, that's a long time ago, that movie, or what are we looking at, 30 years?
Not the
Not that
one
long?
I'm familiar with. That would have been like late 2000s, maybe?
I don't really. I thought it was long.
Like maybe
2008?
Maybe 20 years?
Okay, 20 years?
Maybe.
Well, I don't know. I never really watched the 2010.
Okay, there we
Josh
go.
Fenwick says, our resident aficionado of movie lovers.
Our crack research
Yeah.
team.
Gee, I thought it was around a lot longer.
Well,
I never saw it.
Time's fleeting, Kevin.
Yeah, I never saw it. I should have just used the flux capacitor, maybe. Matt Leduc says Tom Reed, always a wild interview. He's a wild guy. He's got that restaurant, though, Duke, in Minnesota, St. Paul. Man, you want to go in there, you get a good meal, good chicken wings, got everything else. And lots of pictures, too, the memorabilia. Lots of stuff. You ready to rock and roll here, Duke, for a little in or out?
Sure.
I don't think, you know what? I bet it went to my junk email. I don't have it, Duke.
Really?
No.
Isn't that interesting?
There, I got it right now. Just came right now. Well, I'm just telling you what happens. It didn't.
I
I have
believe
to
you.
refresh, and it just came right now.
40 minutes ago.
9:08, Duke. 9:08. Time now for In or Out, brought to you by Pro Solutions. If you need fast air conditioning service, Pro Solutions offers expert repairs, tune-ups, and installs with flexible financing. Book your appointment now at prosolutionsinc.ca.
Okay, you know what? Moving too fast. Bottom line, are you in or you out?
In or out of what?
No time for questions, just action. In or out?
Well, then I'm out.
I'm sorry, Jet. Actually, you're already in.
Are you in or are you out?
On Sports 1440.
I thought you would go, I'm in, Bob. We would have had a really cool moment, but you kind of ruined the whole thing.
All right, Duke. Letterbuck.
Oilers offseason rolling on, and most of the fan base continues to wait with bated breath as determinations on management, coaching, players, etc. all gets mulled around without any official word from the team themselves. But let's focus in on the goaltending today, Kevin. And would I be shocked if come next fall, the Oilers are back with the same tandem between the pipes? Frankly, I wouldn't be. I see one swapped out. One's easier to replace than the other, as Connor Ingram's an expiring UFA. Tristan Jarry, we know, locked into a deal that is not particularly attractive at this given point in time, considering his play since arriving in Edmonton. But if the Oilers were to head out and seek a new starting goaltender, a tangible upgrade over what they currently possess, I think a realistic target would be to head to Minnesota and pry out Philip Gustafsson.
What's his contract, Duke?
I was just bringing that up. I believe it's the first year of his new extension that kicks in Puckpedia, the ever frozen website. I think it's 6.4.
6'8".
6'8". Oh, that's
6'8", runs through 2031. He's got no movement for the first 2 years. 27 years old.
Right.
Duke, I'm in on it. But again, how do you got to make this work? So
well, and that's,
you have to attach Jarry to it.
It's where the creativity, and so here's the thing: attaching Jarry to it is one route, I suppose, and maybe Minnesota looks at it and says, all right, we can stomach that because we have another year of Jesper Wallstedt on just a $2.2 million contract. And then after that, when Wallstedt needs a new deal, do you try and move Jari? Is it easier when there's only the 1 year left? Maybe that's, or maybe Edmonton looks to move Jari elsewhere in a corresponding move that brings Gustafsson in from Minnesota. There's no world that both can be on the team.
None.
Because of the financial implications. $12+ million tied up in goaltending when you've got a couple $12+ million forwards and $11 million defensemen and on and on and on. The cap simply does not go high enough. So the only reason I look at this as a viable option compared to maybe I would have even as recently as the trade deadline is what has transpired in the Minnesota crease. Jesper Wallstedt taking over as the starter for the playoffs. We talked about this yesterday. I won't be surprised if we do see Philip Gustafsson again here. But if he looks at it, and he didn't seem too rosy about the notion when asked at a press conference in the first round, saying his response to a question was essentially, go ask the guys that are playing.
Yeah.
As he has been serving as the backup.
Mm-hmm.
For a guy that's first year of a new deal, does he want that to be as a bona fide starter? He's earned that right. His numbers are terrific. He's been great in Minnesota. Does he show a willingness to waive this no movement clause to land in Edmonton and play with a team loaded with talent, but struggling a little bit identity defensively?
Maybe Billy the Butcher does the Oilers a favor and does this deal. Having said that, do the Minnesota Wild want Tristan Jarry? No.
No, they don't want him. So how do you convince them to take him?
So who else are you going to include?
It's a good question.
So that's the whole thing.
The cost of acquisition is the biggest sticking point for me here.
The draft picks are not there. So are you attaching Ike Howard, Matt Savoy? What are you attaching here? Because you are dealing right now. You are dealing at such a point of weakness.
Yeah,
it's not even funny. Now the only other guy that, and again, he was the guy that the Oilers targeted in the Wallstedt draft, right? And that's Kosa.
Right.
The old Seabass. Now, from everything that comes out of Detroit, he's not getting an opportunity to advance his career there. Now, is he a guy? Now, to get a deal like that done, now you're attaching a whole boatload of stuff. And plus, I mean, you're getting rid of Jarry. But what team right now wants Jarry, Duke? Look what you had to attach to get Stu Skinner out of here. You had to attach Kulak and a second to make it work because of the money needed to work, because of where Stu's contract was. This trade is an absolute anvil to the bottom of the ocean for the Oilers.
Yes. And the Detroit is another team just because of the plethora of goalies they do seem to have. Cam Talbot deal come to an end. They have John Gibson for one more year. But then you've got the two guys, Kosa and Trey Augustine, another top pick, both pushing up from the bottom here and probably looking to break through and play some NHL minutes as early as next season.
And as I said,
for Kosa, the lack of track record at the pro level, I mean, it's not pro level. He's been in Grand Rapids a ton and beyond, but in the NHL, that's where I only pause there is to say you're still gonna have to give up a lot to pry him out.
Yeah.
And are you getting a tangible upgrade?
You
might be, but it's a big question mark.
You don't know.
Big question mark.
You don't know, and you do know what Philip Gustafsson has or is. So the money works if you could make this deal. But again, whatever you're tying towards, to Tristan Jarry, I don't know. Because it's going to be a lot, because you are dealing again from such a point of weakness. Yeah. Nobody wants this goaltender right now. Nobody.
And just quickly looping back to finish up on the Minnesota possibility and Gustafsson. Travis texted in when you look at trading RNH for Gustafsson. No, they've had issues at center for a while. It's true. They lack center depth but more so on the high end. Like they need a number one centerman. Edmonton has that. They're not going to give that away because it's in the form of Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. That's not going to be a piece of the puzzle here. And from the case of Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, you might be able to convince Philip Gustafsson to waive his deal to come here. I don't think you're convincing Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to be waiving to go play somewhere else. That's just my intuition, my 2 cents on that. But should make for interesting banter all summer long until or even if we do actually see some movement on this front. Second, Toronto Maple Leafs hosting another debacle of a press conference yesterday in their introduction of new GM John Chaika and senior executive advisor Matt Sundin, the franchise icon, the self-proclaimed center of the hockey universe. I'm sorry, you look around, we no longer have Arizona. There are some other teams that are certainly not in the on the brink of contending for Stanley Cups, but I think the Maple Leafs are the league's biggest laughing stock as of today.
So in on this one, Duke. And do you think I'm wrong? Like, and I brought this up twice, like once earlier than to spec. And I like, to be honest with you, I don't know Steve Simmons. Don't know who, like, I mean, I know who he is. We've probably said hello over the course of, we've never gone to dinner or nothing like that. But if I'm making an announcement and I want to change everything, the whole outlook of an organization with what we're doing moving forward, and a reporter comes in and blasts, absolutely gives it to my GM who I'm sitting beside and the organization, I'm getting my backup. I'm sorry. Like, honestly, I am getting my backup and I'm going, Steve, and then I'm coming at him. I'm going right back at him. To me, that was a point where the organization takes a stand and they just got walked on again. It reminded me of, like, you know, when the captain gets hit. This is different. It's off the ice. You get pounded on the ice and you don't do anything to stick up for yourself or your team. And this was another example for me. And maybe they think so low of what Steve Simmons is,
but they don't
that
even
they
bother.
Don't care.
They bother giving it the time of day.
But as I know, as I said, like, I mean, everyone is watching this.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's the important factor for me in this argument, is that, like, you can think internally that you disregard what Simmons says or the question he's going to ask, but guess what? He's not the only one there, and more importantly, he's not the only one watching. And listen, watching that, my jaw was on the floor of just, like, listening to Simmons word out that question. There are some valid points in his question, but the way you word it, the way you ask it, especially you're asking it to Pelly, and the other guy's sitting 2 feet away from him and just eating these bullets, especially when you drop, like, con man, liar, salesman. That's it's bold. I'll give him credit on that. I said I don't necessarily agree with the formatting of the question, but that's not for me to decide. That's his own prerogative. Though I'm right there with you, Kevin, in the sense that, like, there's no, you just say his original answer was like, we're talking to different people, and then Simmons was like, is that it? He says, yeah. Like, it could also have been answered better at the same time with a little bit more pushback, saying this is our guy, that we do believe in him. We've done the due diligence to justify this decision that does seem to go against the grain of almost every single person you talk to. You made the decision, stand by it, back it up. Don't just say, yes, go to hell. Like, this is our choice, not yours. And that's essentially all he said. So it's a mess in Toronto right now, which is maybe good for Oilers fans that just with so much talk the days since Edmonton's elimination from the playoffs, all that cycle back on the McDavid future and stuff like that. What's the Oilers going to do? Well, now nobody cares because everyone's just talking about the Maple Leafs again, since they are the center of the hockey universe.
And how many times have I said it, Duke? Sometimes the tent isn't big enough for the circus.
And that is, I think, never more evident than what's happening in Leafland right now. Tonight, however, also a little bit of Leafs implication here. The 2026 draft lottery from Secaucus, New Jersey, Vancouver, Chicago, and the New York Rangers currently holding the best odds 1 through 3 in that order. However, the team that most deserves to win the lottery and pick first overall, I'm heading down the highway. Give me the Calgary Flames. Never in the franchise history picking inside the top 3 of an entry draft.
Look at Josh Fenwick just smiling like a butcher's dog over there. Let's give Calgary some hope. They got the building coming in a year. You've got what I would assume they're going to take Gavin McKenna. That would be great. I would love to see someone in Calgary talking about this in the sense that they finally get a number 1 pick. Who was the texter too, Duke, that was saying?
I can't. It's from a while back.
Oh, here. Yeah, it is a while back, but it was talking that he was listening to 960 as well in Calgary. And you think it's doom and gloom here. Yeah. they're doing seances and praying and voodoo and everything else to try to win this draft lottery tonight. So, oh man,
I just look at the other teams on this list, right? The Canucks, I don't know, like they didn't plan this. This is just an entire system falling apart on its head. And you've got a one franchise player that's making too much money and kind of is playing very badly for the most part. You traded away your other one. The Blackhawks, they've had a run at the top. Already, one first overall pick that they didn't have the best odds to get secured. The Rangers, what's going on with the Rangers? They lucked into a first overall pick a few years ago and have essentially pissed it down the drain with the team they had. The Leafs, I would if we're talking storylines, there would be nothing better than Leafs just moving down one spot to have to sacrifice this top 10 pick to the Bruins as opposed to getting a legitimate top 5 guy, which there's a lot of really good pieces inside the top 10 of this draft in particular. And at every position, right? Wingers, centermen, and the 2 D-men and Chase Reed and Keaton Veerhoff in particular. So
got to mention this here, Duke, right when we started, Darren Dreger reporting, and we touched on it with Speck, Evan Bouchard and Darnell Nurse added to Team Canada's roster for the Men's World Hockey Championship.
I guess they don't want to break.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. I mean, you got another several weeks here too.
That's true.
So
that is interesting. I am surprised by that because I was with you guys on the idea of some of the younger guys, with Szymanski, if a guy like Devoy was approached or something like that, I cowered for the States. Sure.
Szymanski he'll play for Germany.
I would think so, right? But for how much hockey that Nurse and Bouchard in particular played the past few seasons, I am a little surprised.
I'm happy.
I don't really view much of a negative from it for sure. Jumping over to the Ball Diamond, Toronto Blue Jays did drop their opener in Tampa last night 5-1, and ahead of the game, got a little bit of an update on Alejandro Kirk, the team's starting catcher, who's been out of the lineup with a fractured thumb, had to undergo some surgery to get it repaired. Looks like he could rejoin the team by the end of the month, but is still at least a couple weeks away. In his place, it has been the combination of Tyler Heineman and the rookie, Brandon Valenzuela. Not much offense to really write home about, but I think with his play behind the dish, Valenzuela has done enough that once Kirk returns, he will be the one taking over as the full-time backup catcher.
Yeah, and I mean, they talked about this, and Tyler Heineman doesn't have any options. That's the other thing too, Duke, right? So you look at that, that's the difference. Valenzuela's got 3 more options left. So I understand this, but Heineman's 35. Valenzuela, he's got 3 home runs. He's got more home runs than Vladdy.
That's a good point.
His averages is 200 or whatever, but still, no, I think this is great. I think Valenzuela is the guy, and he can handle the staff, and he can learn from Kirk too.
And that's like Kirk, and we've talked about him a lot over the past couple of summers, right? Like, he is a reliable, if unspectacular, bat in your lineup, which is just perfectly fine when you look at some of the other guys this team has had. His work behind the plate as a defensive catcher is among the very best. Now, where does he come up short a little bit? Doesn't necessarily have the best arm. He's not a guy that's going to throw out a lot of guys stealing. Valenzuela is showing ability to do that. And so now if he can continue to hone his craft, learning from Kirk on the work in the staff, pitch framing, etc., man, this is the Jays might have something here because we've seen he's got a little bit of pop in that bat too. Maybe come around on hitting for a little better average and getting on base more regularly. But I like it. And you feel for a guy like Heineman who's been a really liked teammate. But at this point, I'm just not sure he can contribute enough to justify remaining on the roster full time.
He's 10 years younger.
Yeah.
So
you got to give yourself a chance moving forward and play for the now. And I think the future and getting this guy some meaningful experience at the major league level.
I don't know if Heineman gets picked up.
Yeah.
You'd have to look, okay, what team would have an injury, because he's obviously going in there as a backup.
Yeah.
So you would look at a team that has an injury. And if that's the case, here's the other thing. Heineman can be a guy, if he doesn't get picked up off waivers and goes down to Buffalo, well, now you're almost getting like another coach down there too.
100%.
So,
yeah. So it's wait and see time, I guess, because once Kirk gets back, maybe this team can, or even before that, finally take that big step, get back above the 500 mark and get back in contention for the AL East title. Finally, today is Cinco de Mayo, May the 5th. Topic we've broached many times over the past couple of years. What's the best drink? What's the best food, etc.? My only real qualm And a day like this where it's a beautiful afternoon, maybe you head down to White Ave or Jasper, find a patio, Mexican restaurant, enjoy a bulldog, enjoy a margarita, cerveza. You're ordering some tacos, Kevin. And I know you're in for the fish taco side of thing. That's not really my forte. I prefer the pork or the beef.
Yeah.
When you're ordering them, it doesn't really matter what type of place. Maybe save a little taco truck like Specs getting in El Segundo. You order them, you only get three tacos, and they're not particularly large.
No.
You always left wanting more.
Got to go to the taco shop.
I would like a way where you can have on the menu like almost a supersize option. Like, give me twice as many tacos for the upcharge. I don't want to have to order 2 entrees, if you catch my drift here. Because they're usually not cheap.
No.
Right? Cost the same as any other entree on the menu, but you just get these 3 tacos. I'd like a little bit more.
Well, aren't you then might as well buy a burrito, Duke?
Maybe, but there's just something like, but when you're getting burrito, then you're taking it to another level. It is a different meal. Talking rice, beans, all that stuff. I like the taco where it's simple.
So you just want the pulled pork.
I want a whole plate of them.
Pulled pork. You put the cabbage in a little bit, or you use lettuce.
I'm either or.
Okay.
Depends. Whatever they serve, however they serve it, I'll eat it.
Okay. And then what else do you put?
A little bit of cheese, probably some salsa,
red onion, maybe.
Yep. And then maybe a nice squirt of lime on top.
Sour cream.
I find on most Mexican restaurants, you don't have sour cream with the tacos. When I'm making them at home, when I'm wrapping them up and stuff, yeah, I'm putting, and it is more of a burrito. I'm putting sour cream on it every time. That's often the case when you're getting them at a Mexican restaurant.
Why don't you just order 2 orders then? You get 6 then.
Well, then I'm spending $40.
Well,
I just think
so. If they're going to add more tacos to the order, it's going to be more like they're not going to make them in 4 or 5.
I understand that, but my guess maybe my biggest question here is, should 3 tacos be costing you $18 as an entree?
So you're saying it's $6 a taco?
I think it's just a little steep, and for that price, I think I should be afforded a little bit. What's the cost input on a taco, Kevin?
I don't know. Well, I mean, depends on what you're putting in it. Like, have you gone to the taco shop in Lieber's place there?
No, I actually haven't been there.
Well, go have a sniff over there.
Maybe I will.
And obviously, these are all just soft tacos, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think 3 tacos is enough for me, Duke, because then I'm going to order something else.
What else are you ordering?
Well, whatever. Maybe you
got a plate of nachos for the table. And I guess there's ways around this, but I don't know. I just think, and this is purely a gluttonous, privileged thing on it. What, like when you're in Mexico, and whether it's at the truck on the side street or you're at the resort where you've got like it's all inclusive. And you can just order a little bit of everything. There's never anything left on my plate. I'll say that much. Even if I am getting 2 or 3 entrees, because it's that good. I'll say it. I don't really find them that filling compared to say a burrito when you've got the rice and the beans, which usually tends to eat up a little more space in your gut. I don't know.
Like,
maybe my only real qualm here is I just think they're overpriced, I guess.
Yeah, okay, but here's the thing as well. If you go to Taco Tuesday at Taco Time or whatever it is,
right?
Was it $2 a taco?
Now, yeah,
is it more than that now?
No, I think it is about $2 now.
So they don't put a whole lot in there either.
No,
but go order 10 of them there, then, Duke.
But it's not as good. Which is this line I'm walking. I think I might have to go.
I'm getting hungry right now.
Oh, that's what I was just thinking. I was like, I might have to go find a spot today to go enjoy take in Cinco.
Yeah, Cinco de Mayo. You could be like Elaine Bennis.
Cuatro de Cinco.
Cinco de Mayo, commissioned by Bio. That's In or Out, brought to you by Pro Solutions. If you need fast air-conditioned service, Pro Solutions is the place to be. Check them out at prosolutionsinc.ca. When we come back, we've got another edition of Cam and Eggs with our good buddy, our good pal, Cam Tate. Also, the Con Man is sliding in. We'll talk a little, maybe NFL. There's some stuff going on with NFL. I saw an interesting comment from Matt Ryan in Atlanta talking about the quarterback situation moving forward. So maybe we'll talk about that with the Con Man. Before all that time now, For Sports 1440 update brought to you by Sean Cunningham of Remax Real Estate. Get the home team advantage for your next move in the Edmonton area. If you are thinking about buying or selling a home, call or text Sean directly at 780-265-0165. That's 780-265-0165. Here is the Duke.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Lone game in the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight has game 2 between the undefeated Avalanche and the Minnesota Wild after a barn burner. Game number 1, Avalanche with a 1-0 series lead. Puck drop just after 6 o'clock. In the PWHL playoff action tonight, with Minnesota in Montreal. The Frost currently with a 1-0 series lead. Puck drop there just after 5. And in the association, pair of game 1s as well. In round number 2, Pistons hosting the Cavaliers at 5. And then at 6:30, the OKC Thunder welcome in LeBron James and the Lakers. Over in the majors, another full slate today, including the Blue Jays continuing their set in Tampa Bay against the Rays. First pitch scheduled for 4:40. It'll be Kevin Gausman on the bump for Toronto. Elsewhere, the Red Sox are in Detroit. Phillies host the Athletics. Baltimore taking on Miami. Yankees host the Rangers. Cubs up against the Reds. Dodgers play the Astros, and the Seattle Mariners at home against the Atlanta Braves. Coming up in hour 4 of the Kevin Karius Show, we'll hear today's edition of Cam and Eggs and be joined by Connor Halley from Fantasy Frenzy. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CHJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
I've got some good news. If you've been thinking about a heavy-duty truck, the 2026 Ram 2500 Black Express is now at St. Albert Dodge. You've got 20-inch aluminum wheels, black Mopar side steps, body color, bumpers and grille, and a sport performance hood. Available in all the colors for $68,990. Plus, new this year, Ram's best-in-class 10-year powertrain warranty. Now's the time. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Mr. Rooter gets attacked by a Canada goose.
Oh, look at that. Another on-time arrival. Nothing stops Mr. Rooter from plumbing on schedule. You gotta be kidding me. Hello, Mr. Goose. I'm Mr. Rooter. Okay, this is what you train for. Through rain, sleet, or goose, the pipes get fixed.
For a plumber who does whatever it takes, Mr. Rooter.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Wondering what you can afford? Let Go Auto do the math with our free car loan calculator. No pressure, no awkward convos, just quick answers on your budget and payments. Bad credit? No credit? We got you. Text CHECK to 780-777-7777. That's CHECK to 780-all-7. Find out what you qualify for and start shopping with confidence. Go Auto. Drive what you love with payments that make sense.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All-Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All-Star Construction. And the directional drilling, hydrovacking, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. Since 2009, All-Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
Favorite teams, your favorite sports. This spring, catch all the action at Selly's Sports Bar and Lounge. Never a bad seat in the house. Plus, the perfect playoff menu with something for every sports fan, including daily food and drink features. From great goals to thrilling three-pointers to huge home runs. Spring brings the best to the big screens at Selly's Sports Bar and Lounge at all 3 Century Casino locations, Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
Every day is game day at Century Casino.
O'Hanlon Paving is looking for Finnish skid steer operators, Finnish grader operators, Class 1 drivers, and more to join their Edmonton Road Crew team. Bring your positive attitude and great work ethic to their job fair, Friday, May 8th from 10 till 3. Visit o'hanlonpaving.com/careers.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 1010 in Edmonton. Text 833-401-1440. Big Salty says, hey, any chance you guys can answer or confirm I'm right on these two questions? First one, if a player requested a trade, it's done between agent and management. Nothing is sent to the NHL informing of the request until the trade is made. Okay, that's one. Well, sort of a convoluted, ambiguous question. So, like, if a player requests a trade, Big Salty, well, so he's going to management, and then the management has to figure out a trading partner. Many times, not many, sometimes, a player has done this already, but management can't find a trading partner. So management will say to the player's agent, go ahead and sniff something out, make some calls, because they're not answering my calls here. So once a trade is made, then, you don't send it to the NHL until a trade is made. Half the time, though, before it's even sent to the NHL, an insider has it and leaks it out anyway. Second, is a team can't send an offer sheet or a contract to a player under contract. I think the spelling is off here a little bit, but well, so that's a little different here, Salty. So again, if you look at, just look at a Holloway and Broberg. Well, those players were restricted free agents. So then you send them, the agent, and you send out your offer sheet, and then it's up to the team to match. So you'd never be able to offer sheet a player that is already under contract. So that's the difference there. Abby texts in, what about Nurse? A first and a second for Kosa. Ooh. Well, Abby, I don't know, man. For one, the Oilers don't have any first-round picks the next 2 years. Their second-round picks, they've got one each year in this year and next year, I believe. So, but they don't have. They've got a second this year and a second next year, not one in 2028. So that's what they got. Well, I don't even go that far, Duke.
This, as of today, this summer, the Oilers are without a first, fourth, and fifth.
Yeah.
Next year, no first, no third, no fourth. They do have an extra fifth. And then in 2028, they have their first, no second, and an extra third.
So they don't have the currency. And Detroit doesn't want the contract coming back in Darnell Nurse. So, hey, time now for another edition of Cam Tate's Cam and Eggs. Here you go, Duke.
Cam and Eggs, Order 21. Let's have a bit of multiple choice with new Toronto Maple Leaf general manager John Chaika with some of his answers from members of the media yesterday. Elliot Friedman, Sportsnet.
First day on the job, and already there's a tampering story. Can you explain exactly what the league contacted the Maple Leafs about here?
Yeah, it's a tough one for me to comment on. I really don't think there's any merit to any of that. And as far as I understood, it's been dismissed, and it was just an allegation.
What Chaika really said was, 1, mind your own business. 2, I told you before this not to ask that. 3, confirm or deny. You decide. 4, don't make me get up now.
One of the things that somebody said to me was that it shows the challenge that you have, that there's not a lot of grace from the other managers here, and that they're upset about your history and you resurfacing in this spot, and it will make the challenge for you even greater.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
So I think there's a combination of things even. I think there's that part that you're talking about. And I also think there's a part of the Toronto Maple Leafs where, I don't think the league's going to do us any favors, writ large. And, we want to get the job done here, and we're not worried about, the outside. We're going to focus on our team and what we can control. And in terms of me personally, I've always tried to, act as professionally as I can, be a good communicator, work with people to understand what they're looking to do in terms of transactions. And I think if I can continue to do that, my history has been that I've been able to make good transactions for the team, and that's my focus.
What Chaika really said was 1, please feel sorry for me. I'm in Toronto. 2, I have to be careful. The league is already on me. 3, who writes your questions? Forrest Gump? 4, it's my party and I'll lie if I want to.
What about managing people? What did you learn?
Yeah, again, look, I've been managing people from a very young age, right? I founded Staffleets at a very young age. Then I went right into Arizona. I thought I was going to be assistant GM. That lasted a year. Ended up being a general manager, managing people there. My wife and I have, large holdings of assets. We've got 5,000 employees. We do several $100 million of revenue in that as well.
What Chaika really said was 1, my way or the highway, baby. 2, I can make 5 times as much than the Leafs are paying me in my other business. 3, say, if you ever want a donut or a piece of chicken, just call me. 4, wait, is this Maple Leaf thing a full-time gig? Ham and eggs without donuts and chicken. Sports 1440.
Thanks, Tater. That's edition number 21 of Cam and Eggs. He had some fun watching that news conference as well. We're going to have Connor Halley, the con man, coming up after the break. Hey, Duke, I never really watched any of this, what the Barrie Colts did. Is it last night? And they're screwing around the media. It was the Game 7 win of the OHL Eastern Conference Final. And basically, it was Atchison, who's an Islander draft pick, correct?
Yeah, he's the team captain and then the head coach, essentially, at the press avail post-game.
Yeah.
A series which they kind of pulled off the upset largely on the back of their goaltending over Brantford, where Caleb Malhotra was, expected top 5 pick or top 10 pick. He was dynamite in the series.
And Zach Hyman's team.
That's right. But essentially what I took away from it is that in the post-game press conference, they kind of went the Marshawn Lynch route, where just answered every question with the same response, which was nobody cares, go out and work harder or something. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but that was the essence of it.
That is the phrasing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Yeah. Nobody cares, go out and work harder. And they just answered every question with that. And it drew the ire of quite a number of media people from across the hockey world, because in the same world where this is training grounds for players, they're junior players and stuff, a lot of the media are usually junior members as well, whether it be covering it for the local paper or the local radio station, where, it's usually people breaking into the business and things like that. They a lot, Jeff Merrick commented on it, among others, saying this isn't really a fair to the media people.
So here's my take on it. So, I mean, Atchison's a younger guy, but he's doing what his coach is telling him to do. Dylan Smoskovitz is the coach. He should know better, and I will bet you any money that he will have to come out and say that was dumb. He will be reprimanded by the league, and the league will be saying, you can't do that. You are representing our team, our league, and you should be doing it in a better manner. So I think what happened was they thought it was going to be a funny thing, and it ended up to be not. So I would imagine that someone will be talking to the head coach and they'll be changing their outlook moving forward. All right. When we come back, the con man, Connor Halley, will be with us. It's a Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne. Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Summer, it's coming. An unstoppable force that will turn your home into the Sweatbox.
Don't live in a summer blockbuster. Pro Solutions is your one-call solves-it-all expert for AC repairs, tune-ups, and new installations. With fast appointments and flexible financing, we'll make sure your home story has a comfortable ending. AC season is coming soon, so book today.
Lock in pre-season pricing today.
Visit prosolutionsinc.ca to schedule your service today.
Looking for a solid 4x4 that checks all the boxes? The 2026 Jeep Compass is in stock now at St. Albert Dodge, and this is a great value, starting from just $36,900. It's a Jeep, so you've got 4x4 capability, plus features like an 8.4-inch touchscreen, Apple CarPlay, active lane management, a Park View rear backup camera, and more. Over 30 in stock right now in just about every color you'd want. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Expand your brand with Fusion Promo Marketing. Fusion is your trusted partner for all things branded merch and apparel. Thousands of products perfect for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
McValue breakfast meals are $5 plus tax every day. Get a sausage McMuffin, bagel with cream cheese product, or breakfast burrito with hash brown and small coffee, all for just $5. Plus, it's available at 11 a.m. at Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
Build stamina and relieve fatigue with new Roots Herbals Energy, a well-balanced formula with D-ribose, astragalus, and ginseng. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
When it comes to sports in Edmonton, Jason Greger is a must-listen. He brings you the inside scoop with guests from across North America. If it matters in sports, you'll hear it here first. Greger rolls out weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports 1440.
Hey there, I'm in the Fountain Tire sidecar, making a list of the things I'm doing this spring. 1. Saving you money, with up to 20% off select tires until June 13th. 2. Water skiing, tricky in a sidecar, but fun. And 3. Saving you more money, with mail-in rebates of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires and $50 off a $150 service with the purchase of 4 select tires. Oh, that's 4 things. Oh well, restrictions apply. Book online at fountaintire.com. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
There's still time to book your tournament at the Ranch Golf and Country Club.
As one of Alberta's top tourney courses, the Ranch makes hosting fun and easy for any group or business. No matter how unique or unusual, they'll accommodate your vision for an event no one will soon forget.
Start planning your tournament today at their beautifully landscaped course on the outskirts of West Edmonton. On-site event coordinators are here to help, but hurry, availability is limited and booking fast.
Visit theranchgolf.com.
Sports 1440.
All sports,
all day.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Thanks for listening to Edmonton's sports leader.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 1023 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne. Josh Fenwick with you here on a Tuesday morning. Last 40 minutes or so of the big program, and that means on a Tuesday we welcome in the con man, Connor Halley from Fantasy Frenzy, and the Jason Greger Show. Good morning, con man.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Good. I was talking about one thing I wanted to bring up with you regarding the NFL, and I saw the post from Matt Ryan in Atlanta.
What's he saying?
Well, he says he doesn't know what to expect in the Falcons quarterback battle, but he's high on the offensive additions of the team. Obviously, Kevin Stefanski's there as head coach now, so it's a different look. But Michael Penix Jr., they don't know where he's going to be at, and then obviously with Tua, it's a little different. I mean, I don't think you could ask for a better opportunity for a guy like Tua to come in here.
I would say so. I mean, good on him for making the decision. And, it's kind of an obvious one. Michael Penix Jr., partially torn ACL in November last year. Yeah. And that's kind of been the knock on him. Like the knees aren't great for him. So you go to a situation where if your quarterback goes down, you can get in and play. And Tua Tagovailoa, we know he can be an effective quarterback. Like I've never thought of him as an elite quarterback. I've always said, is he going to go toe to toe with Mahomes, Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson? In a cold weather game in all those teams' home environments, I don't think so. But he can kind of dink and dunk you apart. We saw how good he was with elite weapons the one year when he put up really big numbers. Where you had some big plays from Waddle and Tyreek Hill, but
Tyreek Hill was good that one
the
year.
Atlanta Falcons have some nice pieces as well with Bijan and Kyle Pitts and Drake London. So I do like this fit if he gets the opportunity and called upon. And for the Falcons, it makes a lot of sense as well because the money's all right. Yeah. Obviously, Tua's making a ton for the Miami Dolphins.
What
still.
Is it 50 mil?
We got one of those franchise quarterback deals. He and Daniel Jones, one of those situations where you have a guy who's good, so you kind of feel obligated to pay them. And for Penix, I just don't know. This was the knock on him when he was drafted, the injury concerns, and I think he was 24 or 25 when he was drafted. He was a little bit older as well, so he's not exactly a young quarterback in this situation. But I think Matt Ryan kind of nailed it right on the head. There's got to be some uncertainty in that room, and you have to roll with Penix. But it is nice to have a guy like Tua just in case.
But he's hurt a lot too.
Yeah,
so, who's their third stringer?
That's a good question.
So. I don't know who it is either.
Trevor Siemian.
Oh, there you go.
Siemian.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he gets called upon here. I think, I'm hoping, and I've said this for a few years, like if Tua just plays smart, there was that run where it's like he was trying to prove he was tough and he was taking the extra hit rather than sliding. I feel like he's a little bit past that. I hope at least, but yeah, they're pretty dependent, I think, on some good quarterback play, but they do have some nice pieces.
When I was driving in this morning at 6 Bells, I was listening to the fellows on Fox, and LeVar Arrington was mentioning, they were talking about, and for me with the draft, and I think maybe you're not the same, but for me, the NFL draft is all about offensive players because of fantasy football.
Yeah, of course.
So, if you have a linebacker, whoop-de-doo, maybe he helps your team defense out, unless and maybe some drafts you're in that are, single defensive players too. You never know.
Yeah.
Some people are in those. But anyway, they were talking about running backs. And I think it was LeVar Arrington. I'm not 100% sure, but they were talking about Katron Allen. So he's the running back out of Penn State that the Washington Commanders took in, I guess, round 6, I think it is. So he said this morning that he believes that Katron Allen is going to be the second best back out of this draft. And he wouldn't be surprised when it's all said and done that Katron Allen is the number one running back, career-wise. If you're looking down the road, so you take out the two Notre Dame backs in Love and Price, and he felt that Katron Allen is going to be the number 2 back this year and number 1 all time when you look at this draft class.
LeVar Arrington said that.
I'm pretty sure it was LeVar Arrington.
Where did he go to school? Could it have been Penn State? And where did he get drafted to?
Yeah.
Washington?
There you go.
Yeah, I think there might be a little bit of bias there. I think he's, 3rd on the depth chart right now?
So you got McCroskey, Merritt.
Yeah.
And
they brought in White from Tampa.
Rashad White.
I guess they probably moved on from Austin Eckler. He had the Achilles injury, so
fair.
That wasn't great. I don't think it's as crazy as people might think. Like, he was highly productive 2 1,000 yard season, but 4,000 yards in his career there. Found the end zone a lot his last couple seasons. I don't think it's like a impossible thing that could happen. I think there's a little bit of bias. We had someone text in yesterday on Fantasy Frenzy about players you should kind of buy low on right now. Maybe that's one. I kind of think we usually hear about that the first training mini camp. Oh, this guy's starting to look good.
Yeah.
It was Bill last year with the Commanders, right?
Wild Bill. Well,
yeah.
I called him that, but because it was McCroskey Merritt.
Yeah. And I was the one.
But
this is the guy I used to take. And then
Jacory, but then they changed his name to Bill, right?
Yeah, he was named after the cartoon.
Yeah, something like that.
Who was the Texans running back for a while that everybody was saying, "Oh, this is the guy you have to take"?
Was it Pierce?
No. Well, I loved him for a while. Duke, who was the running back last year for the Texans that everyone was high on? Woody Marks.
Okay,
gotta draft Woody. Gotta draft Woody. Like it feels like we always have these guys. You make sure you grab them. This could be the next one, and it doesn't really pan out. But he had a really good career. I just think there might be that alumni bias going on.
There you go. But for running backs, and I mean, people are going to start looking at some drafts where they're trying to find that guy because everyone knows who the top backs are and Gibbs and everything like that.
Yeah.
But maybe so is Price in Seattle not the guy that has going into the best situation, best fit?
Potentially, but they love Zach Charbonnet, especially in the red zone, right? So
but he's not 100% yet.
yeah, he's not 100% yet, and maybe Price goes in there. You don't draft a first round running back, not to give them a lot of looks. So I think I would still kind of be a little cautious. Like, it wouldn't prevent me from drafting him. Heck, people drafted Kenneth Walker, of course, because he's a heck of a football player. But you still have to be kind of weary that you might lose some red zone touches or targets.
Yeah. But to me, Price is, again, he's going into, the best situation, you would say.
I would think so.
I mean, you would say Love is going to get he's going to be like what last year was in Vegas, right?
Yeah, probably. But I would say that, I think that the Cardinals are probably in a better quarterback situation. They have Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison. They've got Trey McBride, who I guess, if you're comparing it to the Raiders, he could be there.
Yeah.
Bowers. But I would probably prefer the Card situation. But even for them, like Algier, what did he do for years in Atlanta? Steal touchdowns from Bijan, right?
Yeah.
So I think he's a running back that coaches love. Like, you can put him out there in almost every situation. He can catch the ball, run the ball, he can block. So I think he'll take some reps from Love in year one. And hopefully year two he develops and gets into it. But yeah, he's pretty explosive. I think I would take him probably as my first fantasy back.
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, I mean,
especially if it's a keeper.
Exactly. There's so many different drafts now. So if you look at it, and you guys are going to be starting to do this pretty soon when you're doing all your rankings and things like that. Do you have Gibbs at number 1, or do you have him at 2? Do you have Bijan at 1? Those are the two guys that'll be going off the board 1 and 2 in my mind.
Yeah. Well, I mean I would think so. I would think that would be the way, especially if you're in PPR with those two guys as receiving out of the backfield. One of the guys who could be, I think will raise some questions will be Jonathan Taylor. Again, he was outstanding last year. Kind of fell off towards the end, like the whole Colts team did, and you lost Daniel Jones. That happened. But yeah, I would think so. Those would probably be the top
Gibbs
two,
and then Bijan, or vice versa.
Gibbs, Bijan, Taylor. I think James Cook is the guy. If you get him later in the first round, you got to be happy.
Yeah.
He led the league in rushing last year. 12 touchdowns. The fumbles are a concern, less so in fantasy football, but if he's, missing time from it, I think, Christian McCaffrey will probably still have a crowd. Achan, he's the one that, to me, that's the most intriguing, because that team is just ripped apart. They had an okay draft, I'd say, but he's kind of the guy on that offense, and that's what they're going to key on. And he'll still
I think you have to
his.
For fantasy, you have to have McCaffrey in this conversation with these guys, but you always get worried. Like every second year or something, it seems something's going to happen to him, and he's a little older than both Bijan and Jamar Gibbs. So
yeah, he'll be 30 to start the year, I believe. Let's go through it here quickly. I have him up for his career statistics. Yeah, you're right. Last year played 17 games. The year before that, 4. The year before that, though, got into 17 total. So,
who's and I'm just looking at a list that came up on our site, and I traded for this guy, con man, near the deadline. He won me the draft, and he's a guy that gets absolute. And this is full PPR. He gets absolutely no respect, and it's Chase Brown.
Yeah,
Chase Brown put up numbers that were at the same level as all those backs that we're talking about at the back half of the year, from the basically week 9, 10 on. And he was, because I know his numbers were right there.
Yeah.
So, but he gets absolutely, because he never gets mentioned in the same breath as a Taylor. Doesn't get mentioned in the same breath as a Devon Achan. And is it because of his stature, smaller? Is it just because he catches 6, 7 balls and everyone goes, wow, it's PPR?
Yeah.
Probably
a little bit. Yeah. Because he had 6 touchdowns on the ground, but 5 through the air, almost 70 receptions.
Yeah. I had his projections for this year.
He's 1,400 total yards. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And you're probably your RB2, right? Like you probably, and for some teams, maybe flex. I bet there's some of it where it's, he's playing behind the guys that he is. Jamar Chase gets a lot of love. Higgins, of course, Joe Burrow. But yeah, those are the guys who win you the drafts. Those are the guys, you pick up late in the season. They have really good runs. For me, DeAndre Swift was that guy.
That's right.
He was really good down the stretch, and he got me one of my championships.
Mhm.
Still, like, similar to Brown, just over 1,000 yards, but 9 touchdowns and had a couple big games when it mattered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like if you look at like the points that he picked up, like, okay, you mentioned James Cook tail end of round 1. Well, Brown was in our PPR league, he's 19 points less.
Mm-hmm.
So a point a game.
Yeah.
But his name never gets brought up.
No, I mean, I don't know what the reason. Maybe people see the big performances rushing wise that really gets it going. Like, I think that's it. Is he the most efficient runner of the football? Oh, probably not. But a good football player. You know, if you're putting up those types of points and winning you leagues, you're not going to complain too much about it.
MTR says Kalen Black's going to be the second best running back on the board. Yeah, let me put on my surprise face. Rig texts in, I read on NFL.com that someone said that Price will be better than Love. And they think they were talking career over this year. And that's sort of what we're looking at too with the other backs that we're bringing up.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go back to one that I know very well, Anthony Thomas. Remember him?
Mm-hmm.
He was drafted the same year as LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah.
One Rookie of the Year. What did he do after, right? Like, one good year really doesn't mean that much. One's a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest of all time. One had a really good first year. Yeah, I mean, one of these guys could have a far superior rookie season, and then the rest of their career goes their way. It's all about what the Cards do in the future. You know, do you build up that offensive line? Do you get that quarterback, you know, top pick next year, similar to maybe what the New York Jets are waiting on? But the Seattle Seahawks, he's going to a great situation. The offensive line is solid. The quarterback play, the coaching is fantastic. They do lose their OC, right? Goes to the Raiders as the new head coach, but he's going to a way better situation. Yeah, Kubiak. So, hey, we'll have to wait and see for sure. Maybe the Cards, you know, this is the beginning of something really great.
How are the drafts going here at Sports 1440? I know my NHL one's tits up.
Not going good for you?
Oh, I had all Pittsburgh guys, and I don't know, and Tampa, I think too.
Tampa,
yeah,
I had a few Tampa
if I got
players.
anybody left, to be honest with you.
Duke's sitting in second spot. Nate, son of Mel, is actually kind of running away with it. He's got a 9-point lead, but I jumped up about 12 spots. I still have a bunch of Carolina Hurricanes left, and of course, I loaded up on the Colorado Avalanche, expecting a big run here. So if the Canes and Avs go on a run, that benefits me quite a bit. But yeah, right now, Duke's in the hunt, Phil. He needs the Ducks to score some more goals. One's not enough.
That's going to change. You know, if Jackson Lacombe elects to, we're watching the highlight here. If he elects to not pass that off just now.
What was that? Oh, it was on.
Poor Duke.
Too good of a teammate right there.
Poor Duke. In our fantasy baseball here at Sports 1440, I'm just looking in number 19, MTR, number 18, Fantasy Frenzy.
Yeah. Building up the confidence of everyone else.
Yeah.
I haven't even looked at that team yet.
Wow.
This is a Duke's baby. I think he actually invited me to join the co-managing, and I might have to do that right now.
I got pumped last week. Just pumped. I think I had the worst week out of anyone in the draft.
Did you win anything?
One category, 1 and 9.
It's not good.
But the guy that had the week, I can't remember who I played, but he put up, like, his week was perfect.
Yeah.
It was like a perfect week. So,
hey, there's lots of season left, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, just quickly, was it icing?
I think it is. I think it was icing only because of the amount of calls that have already been made.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
the tone was set.
Yeah, and I mean, it was the dumping was well behind, but it was high enough and it was deep enough. I would have liked to see one more quicker stride from Lacombe.
Yeah, that's
a
what
little
I
bit,
thought.
just a little bit more. But like, if you watch the replay, Quenneville on the bench, he's all over the linesman, which it's not his call because it's the back linesman. They never even saw the goal go in
because he was too busy yelling.
Quenneville was like he was almost reaching over the boards to grab onto this linesman.
Yeah,
and then you can see because the angle has the net in the background, and everyone's on the linesman, but they're not watching the play.
Puck's going in.
Yeah.
That's got to be one of my pet peeves. And if you can't skate it out to the red zone, like you're 2 feet back, don't assume you're going to get the call.
Wow, this guy's, you're going to get leveled. You got to take the hit to make the play, though.
It's one of the things that bugs me because then they get called for icing and they get mad. I'm like, well, geez Louise, it's pretty black and white. You got to get to the red line.
What's coming up on the Jason Gregor show today? I imagine Struddy on it.
Struddy, yeah. We'll have Struddy, Dave McCarthy. Terry Ryan's going to join us for an hour.
He's back for a bit now.
For today.
He's been all over the map.
Oh my goodness. Where was he? He was at a golf tournament on Thursday.
Another hockey tournament.
Over the weekend.
Right?
Yeah. So he's going to be on today. Struddy McCarthy, DVD Spec, Cam Tate, and I think we're trying to get Ed Hervey to join us as well.
Oh, that'd be good.
Talk about the playoff change and the rules, and they signed 5 draft picks yesterday.
Yeah,
so.
It's kind of like this, like the formality of it all, right? Because, it's every team does it. They take their guys and whatever. I don't know. What do you 8 and 9 teams making the playoffs? Not a big fan.
Who cares what I think? know what? I kind of
like those guys in the OHL.
Well,
play harder.
Yeah, nobody cares. Work harder. You know what? They're trying things. It's generating buzz. It's conversation. I get why people don't like it. Had they called it a play-in round, I feel like for some people that would have made a difference. Like, don't say it's a 8-team playoff in a 9-team league. It makes it look kind of corny, but it's different. They're trying something.
Years ago,
more football
before. Like Montreal was out of the picture here for a bit, right? So there was 8 teams. 6 of them made it then.
75%.
I don't know.
It is what it is. I'm not. I get people that are the traditionalists that really dislike it, but at the same time, it was like, well, winning one game and going to the Grey Cup wasn't the best thing either.
But that's why you played your nuts off to get first spot.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good point. Led a little bit more to the regular season, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, as I said, some of the rule changes for me, once they get instituted, I really want to keep track because everyone's talking about when you're at the 35-yard line, if you're going to use that. The 35-yard line to me is key. If it's 3rd and 3, well, yeah, you're probably going to go for it.
Yeah.
But what about 3rd and 8? What are you going to do then? So, because you can't kick a field goal because that's 57 yards.
Yeah.
So, are you going to pooch punt? Are you going to, I think you're going to see a lot of onside punts.
Yeah.
So you'll have 2 guys behind the punter, and they're eligible to grab the ball.
Love that rule.
But it's rugby.
Yeah. Well, hey, coaching's gonna matter. If you find a kicker who can bomb it, all of a sudden,
like the field goal kicker,
yeah,
57-yarder,
you gotta find that guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm intrigued. I think a lot of us are going to be watching to see how it is, and now it's going to be even more than ever. Like that team that gets hot at the right time and playing their best football down the stretch, they get into the playoffs at a lower seed. Who knows?
If you win 5 out of 8 games,
you have a shot.
You're pretty well assured of a playoff.
Because there's always going to be that one team that loses 80%.
Someone's going to lose 14 games here.
Yeah.
And they're likely going to be that 9th place team. So
it won't be the Elks though. They're going to get in this year, not even a wild card.
Well, I said they're. You know what? It's funny. I said they're going to host a playoff game, which they could now easily.
Yeah.
All they got to do is finish 5th or 6th.
But that starts in 2027, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. Sorry.
Yeah, I made that. I jumped to it too. Duke had to correct me, but I still think I'm not saying host, but I'm saying they'll get into a playoff game this year. Not crossover. They're going to get in the
in either
way.
1st or 2nd.
I think they're going to be good this year.
Well,
Better.
Hope so. It's been a while. Good stuff, Con Man.
Thank you.
Have a great shows today.
You as well.
Connor Halley, Fantasy Frenzy. You'll hear him at the top of the hour. And then also coming up at 2:00 with the Jason Gregor show. When we come back, we will wrap up the big program. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Build stamina and relieve fatigue with new Roots Herbals Energy, a well-balanced formula with D-ribose, astragalus, and ginseng. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month.
It's time to hit the greens. Elevate your golf game with Country Club Tour Golf Academy. No matter your experience, our PGA of Canada teaching pros are here to help. Enjoy lessons year-round between our 7 CCT golf courses and 2 state-of-the-art indoor facilities. Choose the location convenient for you. We offer private lessons, group lessons, expert club fittings, and junior camps. Visit our website to learn more and get ready to take your game to the next level. Booking is easy. Go to countryclubtour.com/golf academy and schedule your lesson today.
McValue meals are here. Get the McDs you love for $5 plus tax every day with your choice of a McDouble, Junior Chicken, or Chicken Snack Wrap with small fries and small fountain drink. All for just $5 plus taxes. Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Everything is going to be okay. If you're feeling the weight of too much debt, you have options. I'm Dan McDicken, a licensed insolvency trustee with Faber. Becoming debt-free is possible, and a personal bankruptcy or a consumer proposal will get you there. Schedule your free Faber Focus session at faber.ca today. You'll learn how a consumer proposal will eliminate your debt by paying a percentage of the amount owed without interest. At Faber, we've got your back.
Increase resistance to stress and support memory enhancement with new Roots Herbals Ashwagandha. Find it at Vitality Health Foods, where customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month. To ensure this product is right for you, always read and follow the label.
Why should you drive a Subaru? How about durability, style, and an excellent customer experience from the moment you step into the showroom? And how about accolades, including awards for numerous 2026 Subaru models from both AutoTrader and JD Power? But don't just take my word for it. Take a test drive and you'll see why the Subaru name is recognized and renowned for quality. To learn more, visit Subaru.ca. Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru.
This morning, your customer heard an ad, just not yours. This afternoon, they streamed for hours. You weren't there. Later, in store, they chose someone else because you weren't present. Audio 360 by Stingray stays with them from the drive to the decision. So next time, it is you. Stop chasing your audience. Surround them with Audio 360. May 27th is the one-day sale. Be ready. Visit sports1440.ca and click on Advertise with Us.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
Program 1047 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick with you. Elliot Friedman just posting about John Cooper. And I don't know, and again, we were talking about it at the break, but this was a non-starter. Brisbois asked this morning about John Cooper's contract status. The response, he's going to be here for a while. Like you can dream of stuff, and then there's long-term dreams. Lindy Ruff says Sam Carrick practiced with the Sabres today. He's now listed as day-to-day. Good face-off guy in the playoffs, man. He was here. When he was here, he did the job for the Oilers. Did the job. And, I mean, he's a guy that can contribute. He's a fourth-line guy that can contribute in the playoffs. So, Duke, you think it's Bruce Cassidy? I don't know. I'm still not.
So the reason that I would be inclined to think it's Bruce Cassidy, his best success in each stop, and I'll elaborate a little bit here, came in the first season with each team. His first full year in Boston was the most wins in regular season. They ended up losing in the first round, but, was a little bit of an upset that happened there. First year in Vegas, they obviously win the Stanley Cup. And both of those teams he joined were teams with expectations and he never joined a team that was going through a rebuild, right? He came in to shore things up, and he has the reputation of having a short shelf life.
He took over from DeBoer, right?
Yes, that's correct. He wears people down because he's hard. Is that what the Oilers need? Based on what a lot of listeners in particular say, the answer to that is yes. A guy that's not afraid to discipline stars, sit people on the bench, have a more accountability, I guess would be the simplest way of putting it. Little bit is he more of a defensive minded guy? I guess so.
What happens if Vegas wins the Stanley Cup and John Tortorella comes in here and leads the team to a cup championship?
It would be something. It would be something. And like Cassidy's never missed the playoffs. As the year he got fired back, and it's most people, I'll be honest, I wasn't even aware of it either until I kind of dove into it over the weekend, or forgot about it, that he coached the Capitals. Back in the early 2000s. One year made the playoffs and then was fired the next. But he always makes the playoffs. Obviously, Vegas was going to make the playoffs this year, or we assume so. They did 10 games without him. So, like, he has a track record of success. He's a track record of coming in for short periods of time and getting a lot out of teams that he coaches. Is that what the Oilers need? Yeah. If you have Connor McDavid on contract for 2 years, after that, every single thing is up in the air. He's going to need some help. Whoever the coach is going to need some help in how this roster looks. Don't expect a tumultuous turnover. You're not going to have half of a new roster next year. It's just too difficult to do in today's NHL.
Do you know what organization he spent some time in, Duke, when he was playing?
Bruce Cassidy.
Yeah, Bruce
no,
Cassidy.
I don't.
The Edmonton Oilers.
Really? Well, there you go. There's your tie-in you need, Kev. He's a former Oiler.
Never played here.
Is he Cape Breton Oiler?
Back then it was called the Nova Scotia Oilers.
Okay.
Played, he was not there for the entire season, but he played with Kelly Buchberger, guys like Mikey Moeller, who's been on the program before. And not only those two guys, but one of the extras in Slapshot. Duke, do you know who that would be?
I don't.
Bruce Boudreau.
Oh, right, I did. We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
Old Gabby.
Yeah, and another guy that we have had on the show, Warren Skrzydensky, goaltender, and Daryl Ray. They were the two goalies down on the farm at
That's
that
a pretty
time.
good club. That's a names of names list.
They were a 500 team. Yeah, they were a 500 team. And again, Boudreau was the leading scorer, had 82 points. Bucky, that was his first year of pro, I believe, had 257 penalty minutes. There was another guy, a big, strong, tough defenseman, Al Tour, was on that team as well, Duke. But did you know that Bruce Cassidy was a first-round draft pick?
No.
Yeah, first-round draft pick by the Chicago Blackhawks when he was playing for the Ottawa 67s. He ended up playing 36 combined games in the and I didn't know this. I did not know this. He played for Canada at the World Junior Championship.
Wow. This is quite a parcel of information.
Not bad for a guy that's not even the coach here we're talking about so much.
Yeah. Well, listen, Kevin, I think what we just did was a more thorough vetting of Bruce Cassidy than what the Toronto Maple Leafs did with John Chaika.
That's very true. Let's just pick anyone here.
Names in it.
Man.
Okay, so Kevin, you could totally tell me I'm an idiot, and listeners likewise too, because of all of this negative pushback. Is it just human nature that I want to see him have success now?
It's almost like is there any possible way it can happen? And it's right. You're right. I think it is human nature because Duke, you and I are similar in the sense you always want to see people prove other people wrong.
100%.
Like that. And that's a trait I've always had, especially when you get crapped on like they did yesterday. But right now, the organization, and you brought up, being the laughingstock circus in the Toronto Maple Leafs. I really encourage you to go watch the Harold Ballard documentary, Duke. And if you can find it,
okay,
you watch that documentary and you're going to go, this is just like it was back in the Harold Ballard days. And it was an absolute mess. Ballard screwed up on a daily basis with players, with coaches, with fans, with management, with media. I mean, he had one friend, and that was King Clancy, and that's it. I don't know how this unfolds, but it has the potential for not being pretty. Coming up at the top of the hour, it is Fantasy Frenzy with
Roshep T-Bird.
The former Roshep T-Bird.
Yeah. Sorry.
The former Roshep.
I was in the middle of typing right as that was
that's
happening,
right.
and I forgot what I was supposed to say. First time in 2.5 years.
The former Roshep T-Bird, Connor Halley, and the Duke of Delburne. There's one game in the NHL tonight, and it should be a little tighter than a 15-goal game. So it's a lighter night in the NHL. So there's still a lot to talk about here on Sports 1440 as the day progresses. Following Fantasy Frenzy at 12 o'clock, it's the Lowdown with Alan Mitchell till 2 o'clock. And that's when Jason Greger takes over with the Jason Greger Show till 6. We got Blue Jays baseball. First, what's the matter now?
Don't have Jays today.
What happened?
I got the email from Marty.
What?
Let me read it verbatim.
Oh,
Bad
no.
news. We will not be carrying the Jays game today,
That's just
but moving
disappointing.
forward, we will join in progress any game that starts at 4:30 onward. Monday through Friday, of course, weekend games. We'll have them all of the time.
Wow.
But I believe the original agreement or cutoff was if the game started before 5, then we would not meet it in progress. So this will be the last night. That is not the case. We'll join any starting from 4:30 on moving forward.
Well, I apologize to our listeners for giving them false hope, I guess. Anyway, we'll have Fox Sports all night long. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock with our co-host at 9, David Schlemko. Until then, time now for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by All-Star Construction. They shape and build Edmonton communities, specializing in underground utilities like power, gas, telecommunication, and street lighting. That is All-Star Construction. Hey, thanks everyone for listening this morning. Really appreciate it. Thanks for all the great texts and the interaction. We could not do the show without you. Hope you have a rest of a terrific Tuesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7 Bills. Until then, here is the Duke.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Just one game in the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. Minnesota Wild taking on the Avalanche from Denver. Colorado with a 1-0 series lead and 5-0 record so far in the playoffs. Puck drop just after 6 o'clock. World Championships coming up in Switzerland, and Edmonton Oilers defenseman Darnell Nurse and Evan Bouchard expected to join the team when they take the ice in Europe. PWHL playoffs resuming action tonight. Minnesota Frost taking on the Victoire from Montreal. Minnesota with a 1-0 series lead. Puck drop just after 5 o'clock. In the association, 2 more second-round series tipping off with the Pistons, top seed in the East, hosting the Cleveland Cavaliers at 5 o'clock. And then at 6:30, the OKC Thunder at home against LeBron James and the Lakers. Full slate of games in the majors once again today, including the Blue Jays continuing their set in Tampa Bay against the Rays. First pitch just after 4:40 Mountain Time. It'll be Kevin Gosselin on the bump for Toronto. Elsewhere, the Red Sox are in Detroit. Phillies host the Athletics. Orioles up against the Marlins. Rangers play the Yankees from the Bronx. Cubbies hosting the Reds. White Sox in the City of Angels taking on Los Angeles. Dodgers take on the Astros. And Seattle Mariners playing host to the Atlanta Braves. Coming up on Sports 1440, it is Fantasy Frenzy with Hallie and Douglas. I'm Brendan Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in